All right, we are live. Welcome in, welcome in. The NBA Cup is about to start. The Spurs chat. Hey, yo, we're back to contending. I mean, for all the jokes that we may make about winning the NBA Cup, about competing for the NBA Cup, about teams. I mean, hey, yo, Knicks fans, stay tuned. I mean, it's been 70 years since you've hung a banner. I mean, we've seen the banners go up for the NBA Cup already. Make no mistake, we don't mean them. It is what it is because this is exciting. This is genuinely exciting. It only means so much. And again, there is maybe the individual build to how we got here as well too for these teams. The Spurs are, of course, I don't know if this is the perfect team to win an NBA Cup, but we've seen the young teams do well in the NBA Cup in the past with, the OKC Thunder were making semis, the Pelicans were in a semis, the Pacers were in a semis. And again, the Pacers and the Thunders ended up playing in a finals as well too. So is this the sign? Is this the sign? But we've already seen the big level, the guys the guys rising to the occasion when they've needed to. But so there is definitely, of course, correlations to big moment basketball, and of course these guys getting to that ultimate goal. But in a one game, maybe it's the one game scenario of it as well too. I guess. Maybe just as a competitive fan, you'd want to win anything. So if it was a 7-game NBA Cup final series, would we not be competitive for that? I'm sure we would be. But just, the sudden death, the funness of that as well, too, from a NBA standpoint. It is really, though, this tournament, of course, is that one sudden death scenario that you get for these games. I mean, regular season games, but those are only, so much stakes individually. Every now and then, you'd get the single elimination, but I don't even remember the play-in rules anymore. I think the play-in's even is the play-in best 2 of 3. I guess you do get multiple opportunities to win the play-in. That's what it is. Unless you're the 9-10 in the play-in is the other single elimination game in the NBA. So in theory, the 9-10 or the NBA Cup final should be better than the 9-10 playoff matchup. I guess it could be similar. It could be the 9 seed from each conference. The JJ McCarthy team from each conference, but it could be the 9 seed from the West versus the 9 seed or the 10 seed from the East, I guess. But in theory, again, the Knicks and the Spurs are probably, I guess, with these rosters, you always, I guess, it is what it is in sports. Obviously health, but with these rosters, with the guys, with the teams fully ready to go, they should be top 6 teams in each of their conferences, maybe top 3, top 4. At this point. And, like we're saying, the Knicks at this point, of course, being atop of the Eastern Conference makes sense. And, the Spurs and Wemby as well, too. But, for the immediate time frame of it as well, I don't know if we have to go back and double check NBA Cup matchups to see. Because the other fun thing about this one, again, in saying that the Knicks, it's been a while since they've won a title. It has been, again, we're not complaining here compared to the Knicks fans, but it has been, at this point now, we're a decade away from the last Spurs title. It's been too long. The longest stretch of not winning a title in the 2020s, I guess. And, obviously we won our first title, I guess at the turn of the century, the 99-2000 season. But since winning a title, this is our longest run as a franchise since not winning a title, I guess. I don't know if that's, a thing that teams, I guess, track. But we are definitely, you can't quite say, I guess, starting to get new generations of Spurs fans that haven't seen an NBA title. If a 10-year-old hasn't seen a sports championship in their lifetime, you're like, okay, buddy, settle down. It's a long road ahead of a lot of losing seasons. You're only a couple of years in at this point, but still, if you're, a kid, I guess, now we're just telling our story. If you're a kid when they last won the finals and now you're like, can I see a post college finals? I guess we didn't get the high school, college. Do we have to see a sports title at every phase of life, chat? I think, is that too much to ask? It might be. Again, if you're locked into the cities, that is, that gets a little bit tougher sometimes. But the advantage I guess that we would have, of course, is not that we bandwagoned the teams, but at least we did diversify, of course, in terms of the cities that we root for. So I guess we did get the Michigan championship a couple years ago. So I'm trying to did we miss a championship at that high school college run? I guess we didn't. So that was the one where we didn't see a ring. But I guess at this point, winning a so do we have to? Are we saying we have to see a pro title at every phase, chat? That's what it is. We have to see a pro title at every stage of life. So does the NBA championship count as seeing a pro sports title in our 20s? I guess is the point. But the New York Knicks as well too. It has been a minute since they've, I guess, had a moment like this. I don't know. Where does this rank for? Because like we're saying, as exciting as this is for this version of the Spurs team to prove that they're ascending, I don't know if you would necessarily say it's like a landmark franchise moment, and I don't think it is for Knicks fans as well too. But it is definitely, compared to some of the other, again, the fact that the Spurs have those moments as well too, compared to the other moments for their franchise specifically, it may actually, be one of the, one of the better moments that they've had at this point. I guess making the Eastern Conference Finals, of course, is going to be number one. But chat, they have they have all NBA Cup teams. Hey, yo, that is that a pause? That might be a pause. I don't know. But they have the all NBA Cup teams, and I guess the the MVP as well too. In 2023, the all NBA Cup team: Giannis, Davis, Durant, Tyrese Halliburton, and LeBron James. 2024, you have Giannis, Shea, Dame, Alperen Şengün, and Trae Young was the 2024 All-NBA Cup team. So you have Davis on a Cup team and not Luka, chat. Ayo, I mean, shout out Nico Doncic trading for an All-NBA Cup player. Not even having to give one up as well too is honestly pretty impressive when you look back at it. Now that they have Cooper Flag scoring 40 points a game, it might honestly be a win. So I guess this year, we'll have this game as well too. To, if Vassell has like 35 tonight, or Josh Hart goes crazy or something. Who's I was gonna say like a New York Knicks center off the bench going crazy, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully Wemby doesn't give that up. But so we got Wemby and Brunson, of course, are locks for all Cup team, and I guess Castle as well too. I guess Castle has to be the obvious number 3. Is there another? I guess are you putting Shea on the list? And is it calculating the games that like are the regular season games that you play as well too? Because of course these are the ones that this one, as great as it is for the Knicks franchise, it won't count to their record. Unfortunately, the stats. I guess this game somehow does exist, but doesn't exist at the same time. It's in a weird twilight zone in NBA stats history. But if it's counting the actual games that they played in as well too, I mean, of course you're gonna get. It's like the the March Madness bracket. All region teams. It's like, okay, I guess the team that won the region probably is going to have 4 of the 5, 3 or 4 of the guys on the team. And then one guy in round 1 that scored like 50 points or something like that. There's going to be more time for them to accumulate stats, have better performances. But I guess, going back to last year, of course, because Dame was, and, respectfully we say, he was a little inconsistent at times. If we go back and check where some of those games when he was really playing well, were those specifically like NBA Cup matchups as well too. Could have been kind of a, I guess a fun wrinkle to his performance last year. But yeah, teams about to take the court, starting lineups getting announced here. Of course, both teams, and with the Knicks actually, I guess, maybe utilizing their bench a little bit more this year. I mean, and the Spurs have proven as well too, even in the games without Wemby, are we, how great of a team, I guess, are we without Wemby, But there is obviously still depth there. And I mean, you can even see, even I guess if we're saying with the without Wemby case for the team, the rest of the guys. And of course, you're seeing Castle have improvements and have moments with Wemby on the court, which is, even more impressive sometimes. But with him as like a lead guy carrying a team, I mean, you could definitely see him continuing to evolve and get more comfortable in that role as well, too, if there was, that type of stretch. And just to say, again, to sort of reiterate the infrastructure to the team, as well too. And I know, we've said this about Shea in the past, talking about his MVP case. And, we're not going to sit here and disrespect the core of the Thunder. It's still a really good team, but, you got people saying that they're still, are they still the favorites in the West if they don't have Shea? And it's like, okay, I mean, they're pretty good, I guess. But, Jalen Williams and Chet as the two lead players. I mean, again, maybe we're just being biased at this point because, again, they literally just won one game against the Thunder when the Thunder won 18 in a row, probably due for a loss. You got an incredible talent like Wemby just wrecking havoc, and Castle was playing amazing. But I wouldn't trade Castle and Harper for Chet and Jalen Williams at this point. And that's after Jalen Williams scoring 40 in the finals. Again, I guess we were saying this last time in the game that they were playing in that Friday live stream. But, the contracts as well, too, does make that an interesting point in their careers for making that argument as well. But just from again, I guess we can't necessarily say a right now talent standpoint because we would deny that trade, assuming that Castle just continues to get better and better and better as a player. But I guess if we'll just phrase it that way, the right nowness of it as well, too. I think Castle could be, maybe a little bit more inconsistent 25 a game, but I guess we can't necessarily, say that as well, too, because he's, again, still continuing to become this player. So, I guess, has he had a chance to necessarily be inconsistent yet as well? Immediately starting on Brunson. So, switching and all that stuff. But is he going to be Brunson the whole time? And then, the offensive stuff as well, too. There was, when you're scrolling Instagram, of course, and you get the suggestions to go to threads every now and then, ayo. But there was a suggestion in ayo. It's just a picture of Castle and some stats. And I was like, I mean, hey, we're going to click on this if it's going to be pro Castle stats. We got to know what these are. And it was a link to some Reddit thread. And the thread was just, could Castle be the best two-way player in the league? And then the stats on the thread were actually from last year, and the fact that he was, and I don't even know at what point in the season they were posted as well too, so I don't know if exactly it was the end of the season, but it was players with a minimum of 100 isolations on the year. He had the highest free throw attempt rate of any of those guys, or something with the free throw rate along those lines. So, I guess just to continue to prove the offensive side of that. And you kind of already, I guess, know the defensive projections, especially with the UConn ties as well, too. I mean, switching on. Oh, Hart hits a good shot, though, with Castle playing good defense. You got to give him credit when credit is due. Good offense there from Josh Hart. Of course, Wemby off the bench again. Do we have to confirm Wemby's not, out for tonight as well? Doing some kind of weird... that might be a little too much. I think the NBA Cup is, again, are we making too much of it now? Just being a little too overly competitive. Oh, Anunoby on the back cut. Ayo. But this is a game that you do have to go for as well, too. But they did start off a little bit slow against the Thunder. I mean, you got to give us credit, I guess, for not necessarily getting rattled, but you do like to maybe start with a little bit energy. Like you see the Knicks are definitely a little crisper. Again, running some good sets here, some good passing plays, and hitting some tough shots. I mean, Bridges takes a tough pull up there and is not able to get that one to go. So again, the shot that Josh Hart hit last time was pretty good. But Fox just, gets to go. Ayo, give him credit. But semi-transition, just right down to the mid-range, behind the back, pull up, no passes. Love to see it. Ayo, shout out to De'Aaron Fox. So yeah, a lot of switching for Vassell, right for Fox on Brunson, and then Fox picking up the foul. So early foul trouble, not yet, but if that's the switch that they're hunting, then that could be risky there. And Fox does have the defensive potential as well too, but he is a guy that I think has been hunted before in the past. I mean, I don't know if it's been to crazy degrees, but if you're switching from the guards as well too, and for the Spurs, I guess he is the one that you're going to want to switch into. And Brunson with the air ball that time, was that Cornette on the defense? I guess Cornette does have the inside track to some of these. Does he know the plays? Does he know what's going on? And he gets the lob, the pick and roll. So Cornette versus Towns, chat, that might actually be a matchup. I mean, Towns is going to have the perimeter game, the offensive ability. We know that. Cornette's a good defender. He'll be able to keep up with him. Make him work anyways. But offensively, just being active and the movement can get him a lot of those maybe looks around the basket. And defensively as well, too. The rebounding could be a major swing thing in the game if you got Towns on the perimeter and Kornet is, chasing some of that stuff on the inside. Pause. Vassell with the 3. So there we go. A little spark back to the lead. 9-7. It is what it is. This is it tonight, chat. Hey, yo, we have got it's championship time. It's early championship preview. It's championship day, championship reps for the teams, championship reps for the live stream for IT chat. Hey, yo, we'll see if they can finally get through a live stream here without technical difficulties. It's been a minute. It's been right on there with the Thunder's win streak. Is the live stream technical difficulties streak. It is what it is. We need. I'm speaking of scrolling Instagram. Maybe IT less scrolling Instagram and more figuring out how to work the pod. There was a clip of, and now our algorithm is flooded with it, so we're not going to be upset. But there was a clip of the old Batman show. Shout out Adam West. Here, let me. Do we have to Google Adam West? Rest in peace, Adam West. I don't want to. But yeah. Shout out. Legendary. Oh, yeah. Chat. Hey, yo, he passed away in 2017. I don't know what we were saying there, but yeah, he passed away in RIP. Yeah, it was what we meant to say for Adam West. Hey, yo, but we were getting some clips of the old show, just being posted, and there was one where the commissioner was asking him how you could manage to disarm a safe in like less than 3 seconds, and he's like, "Commissioner, I pulled out my less than 3 second safe disarmer." Actually, it was, I think, the bat less than 3 second safe disarmer, or something maybe a little better than that. But it's like, of course, the tool specifically for the need. That's what we need. We need the bat. No IT technical difficulties device, and then maybe we can power through. Wemby's in the game. Is this Mitch Johnson's this is Wemby off the bench is a luxury, I guess, that he's maybe not going to have for a lot of games. I mean, because we're going to move him into the starting lineup, but at some point, hey, yo, this guy's eventually going to be a starter on the team. He's looking like he's being pretty impactful. I assume he's going to take Kornette's job one of these days. Hey, yo, shout out to Kornet. But yeah, there is I guess this is the gadgets that he has at this point. Dylan Harper checking in as well too. But I guess we were mentioning the depth earlier as well, talking about both these teams. And if there is anything that would, I guess, make you feel, pause, better about the Knicks' chances to make the finals run, is their depth is a little bit better. The final 5, of course, and I think the level, again, to which they're able to play against some of these top teams is ultimately the question. And not necessarily maybe even the basketball fit or who is, the rotation. Maybe there's a couple of different options you can go to, but that's not necessarily a bad thing as well too. If you just got, again, maybe if you're definite in what those options are, if you're like, okay, we got a center dominant lineup we can run, maybe we run in a wing dominant lineup or something like that, but what your lanes are at the end of the game. But the teams the teams do have, and again, hey, we're speaking early for the Spurs here, but I guess you can never underestimate what is possible in a playoff setting. And it will be, I think, pretty matchup dependent as well, too, for San Antonio. I guess that's the case for everybody. But, if we, and I don't know if we look up the playoffs scenarios right now, but if we get Denver in round 1, hey, yo, it's okay, we're, I guess, the greatest defensive player of all time versus the greatest offensive player of all time for 7 games. I mean, lock that in. That'd be an amazing series. But, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily be shocked if the Spurs went home in round 1 because they were playing Jokic or, again, is Houston a possible round matchup? I mean, at some point, championship team, I guess you got to take down the best. It is what it is. But if there is, I guess, are the Lakers the one? I don't know. With the way that they were looking against the Spurs, speaking of the NBA Cup, maybe that's the team that we're eyeing right now. I'm not sure. Sorry, LeBron. It is what it is. No, I guess LeBron, unfortunately, he can't take down Jordan, chat, pause, because, he can't pass Jordan in the all-time rankings because Steph Castle's got to get a ring. I mean, is that crazy to say? I'm sorry we're biased. We're Spurs fans. It is what it is. I don't know if other teams, do other fans feel that way? I don't know if, you know, do Kings fans feel like LeBron can't get a ring because they got to get Sabonis his championship? I don't know how committed they are to their lineups, but like we're saying, if there is a favorable playoff path, I mean, we could be a Final Four team at the end of the year. Like, I don't even know what is realistic at this point. Again, are we going to beat the Thunder in a 7-game series? Is that what that win means? No. And does that win mean that we're going to even play the Thunder close every time? I mean, again, the Thunder are the best team in the league. Are we saying that we're sitting here, unseating the Thunder as the best team in the league? That's not what we're saying. Did we see in that game that the Spurs have a lineup that can compete with the Thunder? That's exactly what we saw. And, because of Wemby as well, too, and again, the talent that, the developing talent around him, they can have a lineup that really can compete against anybody in the league. And at this point, even though it's still early on, not even the best version of maybe what it could be, it still feels like in this version of the West and in this version of the NBA, hey, yo, Chet, we're okay in the West. I don't want to say it. Is that hopefully that's not the curse, Chet. Hopefully that's not the curse. If things go poorly in the next 3 quarters, we know what it is. We'll have IT go do some editing. I guess hopefully editing is what undoes a curse. I guess. Hey, yo, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But yeah, if as long as Wemby doesn't get the blicky on the playground, Chat, maybe we'll be maybe we'll be okay. I don't know. Is it the saying or hey, yo, I guess we don't want to get too crazy here. Maybe shout out. It is what it is. People are minding their own business when they're off the court. I guess we'll mind ours. But the Spurs, like we're saying, a little bit of a run when Wemby is checked in the game, unsurprising. So, when he is plus 22 against OKC, I guess this is what we'll see here. And again, Wemby is like all of these people are, I guess on the same timeline. They're all young players, AO, but Wemby. Like we were having those conversations last year. What could he be as a player? And it's like, yes, this core around him is great, but Wemby's going to even continue to ascend as well too as a dominant top end player in the league. And if the guys around him, it's just all getting better, then like I'm saying, by the end of the year, it's just who knows what is the expectations for the team a couple months from now. And Harper offensively still not quite, even a major consistent piece at this point. Anunoby, Chad. Hey, yo, is Sonny Lee at the game? He just hit a 3 right in Wembanyama's face. Hey, yo. I mean, OG Anunoby, shout out, can be a tough shot maker, but, that is next level. Wemby wants revenge. He's going 1v1. Oh, tough pass to Castle. Castle couldn't quite corral it. It was not a clean pass from Wemby. Like we were saying, the handle was getting him in a little bit of trouble in the Thunder game, and it's the handle as well too. But it is how he is setting up offensively. Like if his handle is not the best, then maybe you don't want to always set him up offensively from the perimeter. Maybe you do need to commit to some of the. And it felt like at the beginning of the year as well too. We were seeing some of the top of the key stuff in almost like an Embiid type, game for the spots on the court that he was starting to play at. Is that a horn set for Dylan Harper? Oh, he got to the basket, but he wasn't able to quite get the layup to go. So at least he is getting to his spots on the floor. You can see the burst and the athleticism is definitely there. Wemby on the double team with Cat. He's going to have to call a timeout. He doesn't know what to do. Oh, chat, we jinxed it. It's Anunoby again. Oh, is Karl Anthony Towns good, chat? Hey, yo, he had the double. Pause. And he was still able to find the guy into the basket. I mean, granted, wide open, but still, that was a difficult situation to get out of. Spurs right down the other end, able to get it to go. So, I mean, the pace to start the game. Both teams matching each other. Wemby's flopping, chat. Pause. Is that a fine? Is Wemby going to get fined? If you don't get called during the game, can you get retroactively fined? Oh, the ref's talking. Uh-oh, did Mitch Johnson call a timeout? Hopefully it wasn't on the flop. I didn't even see what happened to Wemby. I just saw him falling down. So, hey, yo, chat, you're bad. Soccer player. Oh, no. But a couple of easy looks for New York, and that is the thing as well too. It has been some self-inflicted wounds for San Antonio that, hey, was it San Antonio keeping OKC in the game? I mean, now we're obviously getting a little crazy, but it was still not a clean game. So I guess just the ability to compete with them consistently, if they're playing even more of a, turnover-free type basketball, more locked in, then just the level of play is going to be up as well too. But there is a little, we got a little college basketball also on in the background. Speaking of Steph Castle's alma mater, UConn versus Butler. I don't know. Butler always a feisty team. 8-2. Are they 8-2 right now? So not ranked, but I guess competitive enough. You've got UConn, were they 10th? So you, of course, a couple of national titles. You're probably still going to be a top 10 team. Dan Hurley there as the head coach. But he is, of course, an AO. I think they're a little higher than 10. Let's get that ranking back up there, ITO. Can you get control of the game? Oh, they're 5th. They're 10-1. That's the 10. They have 10 wins, which means that they are 5th in the nation. And you had Dan Hurley, kind of moving into, the top role for college basketball head coaches. Taking the mantle from Coach K, but maybe kind of moving into the next Coach K type role. And it's not always fair to, the next guy is always the guy before, but just as, I guess, who was the last dominant number one guy in the sport. And of course and especially when we were watching Coach K as well too, as we started, as of course, if we start to log memories as college basketball fans, he starts to move into a more one and done style commitment recruiting. And of course now, and the transfer portal, mixing it back up, it is a little bit of a jumble up of the team sometimes, where you'll have a mix of both, where a guy's been in school for 5 years, transferring in, finally made his way to a major program, but also of course they were able to recruit the 5-star talent as well too and get him to attend. But Hurley, with the like we're saying, just the year-to-year level of the teams, is, yes, he was able to get the national titles, and of course it took him a second to to get there. So can we say, the years before that, if they fell off or something like that, it's like, them being inconsistent? I guess, like we're saying, he's built the program up to this point, and now how far can he take this run of them being dominant? And, a long ways away from the tournament at this point. That they're 5th in the nation, they're still right there for a 1 seed. At the end of the day, if you're like a 1 or a 2 seed in the tournament, you're right on track to win the national title. You're as competitive as any of these teams. Honestly, if they're a 1 and a 2 seed, for UConn, that's about as good as they can get for winning a national title season. But again, for Hurley, actually, and not to say again that, the years that they were winning the national title, was UConn not a legacy school in those moments? Of course not. But for them to just consistently be a top 5, top 10 team like Coach K would have at Duke, and again, I'm sure we could go back and look at the years. Maybe it's not always exactly that, but it's pretty close. I imagine going into the tournaments, it would be pretty much that. And really, it was a lot of some of those years, as the 2 seed, they would get, upset. There's a couple that, the Lehigh one stands out, of course. Shout out McCollum, but Brandon Ingram wasn't the Lehigh game, because that was Seth Curry. Was Brandon Ingram? Who did Brandon Ingram lose to in college? I forget. Maybe it was Lehigh. Was it Lehigh twice? We might have to give this a quick look up real quick and see who eliminated Brandon Ingram early from the tournament is the question. Somebody ask ChatGPT and see if they're able to let us know. If it says Glorilla Chat, then it is definitely wild. And 17 a game, 44% from the field, 41% from 3 in college as well too. Shout out. Maybe a little higher than I would have guessed. If you would have said over under 40, I'm sorry. I probably would have said under. Pause. So, oh no, and they did win a couple of games. I'm respect to Brandon Ingram. They made the Sweet 16, and they lost to a 1-seed Oregon. So you can't even really, I guess be mad about that looking back on paper. Again, I guess they were 19th in the AP poll. Oh, so Brandon Ingram, maybe one of the years they're a little bit down just in general. And then Coach K actually made the Sweet 16. Should we see Coach K? Like how many years was he looking? So I guess the 90s, of course, would have been the peak of the run. Okay, wait. Oh, wait. For some reason, I was thinking they had it listed with, and I guess I'm not scrolling through in the background here. We're still working out some IT issues, but we got the score going. It is what it is. But I was reading it backwards for a second. So for the AP high from 97 all the way till 2003, they got to the #1 ranking at least some point. #2 in 04, and then back to an AP high in 05 of 1 as well. So the lowest their high ever was from, I guess it was 12, was their highest ranking in 1995-96. And really he had 3 seasons at Duke where his highest ranking was in the single digits. It was his first season, 83-84, and it was the end of the year as well too. So that's good. That means they're, trending in the right direction. In 86-87, he was 12 as a high and finished 17th. And then he in 1995 was an AP high of 12, and they actually finished the AP season unranked as well. But they did make the tournament. But since from that 12 ranked high in 1995-96, they were the lowest ranked after that from his run till 2021-22 was 6, and it was second to last. It was the second to last year. So again, is it fair to compare anybody to the greats? Like Dan Hurley is just now getting started. If we're saying, so when did Coach K even win his first national championship? I'm not sure how to read this key here. It says Final Four. Oh, it does say champion when they won. Okay, so 1990, 1991 was the first year at Duke that he won a championship, couple conference championships in there. So he was at Duke for almost a decade before he won a title. And then, of course, after that, the run of dominance was incredible, including, the Leitner years, some of the best college basketball teams we've ever seen. And then, like we said, just pulling all the recruits in the 2000s as well, too. Some of the Olympic ties working in there. So I don't remember exactly how long Dan Hurley's been at UConn, but it hasn't been 10 years. And I guess he's already won 2 back to back. So pause. So Dan Hurley on pace to be better than Mike Krzyzewski? Is he the Pat Mahomes of NCAA coaches? So maybe this is the beginning of the end for Dan Hurley as well too. Who won the national title last year, chat? Oh, was that Florida? Did Florida win the national title last year? I gotta fact check myself. I guess they won back to back 2 years ago. Oh, and they lost to Florida. So some national championship vibes in that game. And yeah, Florida was the national champion. Shout out. Whoa, Walter Clayton Jr. How could we forget, chat? How could we forget? But like we said, it takes a year for us to register. Unless Michigan wins it this year, then I guess all the previous years will be forgotten. We'll just remember that Michigan won the title this year. It is what it is. But yeah, shout out. I mean, Walter Clayton, obviously iconic. Maybe Elijah. I guess we're not gonna start naming the names, but maybe not to call them out, but maybe because of some of the NBA stuff as well too. Personally, we haven't recalled those. We wouldn't be able to recall those as easily. But again, they lost to Florida by 2, and I'm pretty sure Walter Clayton Jr. hit like a game winner in that game. Would be my guess. Oh, chat, and Solo Ball's name. I'm looking on the basketball reference page for UConn. His name is Solomon Ball. Hey yo, I guess Solo Ball's a great nickname. but I don't know. Is it better if it's his full name as well too? Hey yo, is that crazy? Solo Ball, full name. I don't know if Solo Ball's a full anything. Hey yo, but Solomon Ball, it does make more sense if his name was Solomon, I guess. But yeah, shout out, and was on the team last year, I guess. 14 a game, but for some reason we don't also remember solo ball as well too. Uh, I feel like we would have made the Ball brother jokes at the time, but McNeely Caravan combo as well. McNeely now looking okay in Charlotte, not bad. So yeah, I guess the second round loss and back to number 5 in the nation is definitely a good rebound. 10-1, definitely the record back on track in that type of way as well too. 24-11 is not bad. They were, I guess, were they unranked by the end of the year? They were an AP high of 2, so at least he's kept in his AP high ranking. But I don't know if we go back and check. Okay, yeah, they were unranked. So if he is the Pat Mahomes, chat. This is it. Is Hurley gonna tear his ACL coaching this year? Hopefully not. And we were seeing, speaking of the posts, we were seeing the posts. I mean, you can scroll through Instagram quickly. It is what it is. We were seeing the posts of, or there was one anyways, of saying that Raiola now has to tear his ACL because that's what Mahomes does. And I thought Raiola was already hurt as well too. I think he got hurt at some point in the season. But so knees a little weak already, chat. That might be a pause. But I guess in 06-07 they finished the season unranked. Duke for Mike Krzyzewski, they were 22-11. So very similar, and they did lose in the first round of the tournament as well too. Did they lose to Florida? Was 06-07 was that in the back-to-back years for Florida? Or was that maybe a couple years before that? They lost to Virginia Commonwealth, VCU, number 11 as a 6 seed. They lost by 2 points. Was there some some current coach that hit a game winner in that game, maybe? Or I forget. Scott Drew. Was it Scott Drew or Bryce Drew? One of the Drew brothers. Didn't they hit like a buzzer beater for Val Paraiso or something like that? Maybe we should know that. Is that iconic NCAA history, chat? It might be. But I guess if Coach K had one unranked season in 06-07 in the middle of his run, then, I guess Coach K's used up his unranked season. Or, Coach H, chat? Do we have to start calling him Coach H? Ooh, I don't know if that's, controversial to steal the letter nickname. I don't know if it's copyrighted for Coach K. Can he trademark that? I mean, that's the move now. If you've got something, if an iconic name or something like that, I guess, nickname, catchphrase, whatever. I guess it's sort of like legal. I guess NIL is legal, but USA NIL in a way. Like, can he brand Coach K? I'm sure he has to have it trademarked. There's no way that nobody has gone to Mike Krzyzewski and been like, hey, maybe you should look into getting Coach K trademarked. Should we? I mean, we can't even do that. There's, it's like the people that buy up the websites before. So I'm sure it's a great move. You buy AvengersEndgameMovie.com. I think there was somebody that did that. I don't know if we can look up how much did they sell AvengersEndgameMovie4.com. I mean, I guess that is a good one. You steal a website from a big corporation like Disney, shout out. But maybe if you copy, like a low key personality, you steal like maybe or sometimes I guess, obviously some personalities can have like a same name as just, there can be a lot of same name people out there. So maybe like a handle can just accidentally be taken as well too, but sometimes stuff can get on purpose. So I don't know if we can look into I don't know, hopefully we didn't give anybody ideas, looking into seeing if they can trademark Coach K before Coach K does. But maybe the office already has kind of trademarked it for him. If somebody goes and it's like, hey, I have nothing to do with Coach K, but I would like to trademark Coach K, they're like, maybe we'll reach out to Mike and see if he wants to, does he just get first rights to it? Because I don't know if it works that way. I don't think it does. But either way, there's no way. Coach K's got to have a merch. He's got to have a store. Some merch, some Team USA Coach K merch. I know didn't he have like a documentary or 30 for 30 a couple years ago. So I'm sure there could have been a good t-shirt push around that as well too. But a website or something. I mean, the man's got to be locked in. You're locked in on recruiting and stuff like that, and you're not locked in on trademarking a website. There's no way. Like a grandkid or something was like, hey, yo, like maybe we should, hey, yo, Gramps, have you ever thought about trademarking Coach K? Do his grandkids call him Gramps? Coach K, Coach Gramps? I'm not sure. But Yeah, that is I guess one of the college games that we have on in the background right now. We also have uh, Tennessee versus Louisville. Yeah, so Mikel Brown versus Amit in Tennessee is up by 20 right now in the lower ranked teams. I don't know, a little bit of upset at home though. I don't know if that gives them a 20-point advantage, but at least some points there. Is there a McNeely on Louisville? Oh, chat. I don't, I don't want to do the thing, but he may look a lot like the other McNeely. I'm not sure. So there could be a relation if you play basketball and you're both white and your last name is McNeely. Is there a chance that you're related? I mean, the McNeelys, chat. There's no way the McNeelys is not a basketball family. A white basketball. I mean, the Knupples is another one. If there's another Knuppel out there, a couple. Hey yo, there's got to be at least two Knupples, right, chat? Two Knups, two Knips. But if there was a McNeely family in the NBA as well too, that would definitely be it. I mean, it's not as good as like a Plumlee situation. The Plumleys are obviously the iconic ones, and the Zellers as well too. The Zellers are the discount Plumleys. The Indiana Plumleys, that's what we call the Zellers, chat. The Indiana Plumleys. It is what it is. But a big white center family is just the. It's if the Jokic brothers played basketball. That's just the funniest thing in the NBA. It is what it is. I think maybe even more specifically as well too, a big white center family of hustle, like the hustle players. I guess if there was just like 3 Jokic's in the NBA, I mean, maybe I don't know if it'd be more even or more terrifying. It definitely would be more terrifying. Hey yo. But again, it's like, okay, that's just 3 of the greatest offensive players of all time. I don't know if his brothers have the same like court vision maybe that Jokic has. Maybe that's sort of the separating trait. Maybe the touch on some of the jumpers as well too. But it's just like the Plumleys are going to be out there setting screens and getting rebounds, and then if they have to go, if there's like a hard foul, pause on on the point guard, the Plumleys can also be like a left tackle in the moment and step in and defend their point guard if they need to. You've got a great pick and roll guy and an enforcer as well. So there's got to be another one, chat. Ayo, there's no way we stopped with just the Plumleys and the Zellers. I mean, there's got to be something out there. The Klingons? Does Donovan Klingon does he have a brother somewhere? A Ray? Is there a Ray and a Donovan Klingon, chat? There might be. I don't know if the Klingons is too good of a name to have brothers. But the McNeelys is pretty good. The McNeelys definitely grew up in a house with their name on a rock in the front door. It is what it is. The McNeelys. I feel like that's just like the stock one that you can buy. They didn't even have to get it custom ordered. They just walked into the rock. What do you even call it? The rock welcome sign store. And was like, oh, you already have one printed up that says McNeely? We'll take it. So shout out. Hopefully, they were able to get on some good AAU teams as well too. And Liam is cooking. And maybe he's not even related. Maybe he's just another McNeely. There could be 2 separate McNeelys. I guess there could be a lot of McNeelys out there. You never know. But shout out to the Louisville McNeely, not the Yukon McNeely. I don't know. But yeah, we've got 43-37, 9 minutes left. We're back, chat. NBA Cup, second quarter. We're locked in. Wemby is not on the court. The minutes restrictions kicking in. Cornette is taken back over. Fox, the man loves pulling up on the left side. It is what it is. He's done it a couple times. I mean, he got the first one to go. Does he have to get his looks when he can, chat? He might. Cornette, he actually closed out. Whoa! He actually closed out. It worked. It was effective in causing the miss. Hey, yo, chat. We got to check. We have to double check who number 13 is for New York. I mean, NBA Cup Finals. We got to do who he play for. Oh, it's Kolek. Hey, yo. We got the screen right now. We can't see any names. But Kolek getting some minutes. Shout out. So, yeah, he's part of the draft over the last couple of years. And has he been, like the 6th man on the team? But he has definitely been a guy that if you have to check him in for a couple minutes and run some point guard stuff, I think he can be pretty effective. Maybe a feisty defender as well too. I don't know if I can speak too much on Tyler Kolek's game, but I guess this will be a good opportunity to catch up and see what we have got going on. Oh, and they've got Wemby back ready to go. And this could be, again, not to say that, you know, these one game scenarios and even one against the Eastern Conference team as well too is necessarily like giving some stuff away, but at least you do get to go through your, you know, high level basketball games at this point in the season. If we're just review, like, okay, you get a review tape for playoff matchups. Like, what are you looking at? You know, you might go back and watch some of the NBA Cup matchups and see what happened there, or you might not, because, you know, you're bringing Wemby off the bench and you're like, okay, are they doing different stuff here? How does this mess with any potential lineups that they're already having? I mean, you know, obviously once he's out there and the stuff that they're running, you just, I guess, hey, yo, you just look at that. It is what it is. But it still maybe, again, provides a different wrinkle to the team that keeps it fun for the competitive for now, but maybe saves us some stuff as well. And I guess that would be maybe the factor that could really be beneficial there, more so than what they necessarily display as well too. Hey, yo, chat, what are they going to put on film? That they switch the pick and roll on defense, they run the pick and roll on offense? I think that's basically what every team puts on film in 2025. Do you have to watch? Do they watch film in the NBA in anymore? I guess, hey, yo, you gotta watch the game at least once to know what's happening. So that is, you know, if anything, watching film. I'm not saying it's watching a game. Hey, yo, pause. I'm not saying it's a detailed version of watching film, but I guess technically, I guess if you watch the game live, it's not watching film, right? Because you're watching it live. Watching film is, you know, you have to have the game on film and then load up the tape and then rerun it. And that, you know, I don't know if we bring that back for 2026, actual film in the film room, but nostalgia, physical media, I mean, all this stuff is taken over. So, I mean, if the physical media push in 2026, if that continues, maybe film in the film room again is something that we actually see. We've got this, we've got the announcer here for the Tennessee Louisville game giving us some finals predictions, and Michigan's not one of them. Hey, yo, has he watched any college basketball this year? Has he seen that Michigan has won like 6 or 7 games by 25 points in a row? I haven't looked at the Ken Pom yet because I don't want to, I guess, get too excited either way. I don't want to look at Ken Pom and then see that we're the #1 team in the nation and be like, whoa, okay, we're the best. Can we even look at Ken Pom still? Is it behind a paywall? Like I said, we haven't looked at it yet, but for this year anyways. I guess, was it behind a paywall last year? I don't remember. Oh, Terrence Crawford's retiring from boxing? Hey, yo. It just says that on the ESPN ticker as well, too. I did see that there was some stuff going on with his title in terms of, you know, he wasn't willing to, or I guess, hey, yo, we should probably rephrase that. You know, he wasn't going to pay for whatever it was, some type of fee for them to get the belt, which again, I guess, if we're saying what's stupid there, it's obviously the fee to get the belt. I thought the fee to get the belt was the fight that he won. You know, I didn't know that there was like a payment that he had to, you know, I didn't know there was a tariff on the belts. Hey, yo, Dana White, was he even running this match? I'm not even sure. But there was like a 300, and that's a, you know, I'm sure Terrence Crawford's doing okay after the fight as well. But still, you got to put up $300,000 to get your belt? It's like, okay. And I guess even if he doesn't physically want, I don't know, the belt, he has to pay the $300,000 to get the status. So I get that, you know, at the end of the day, these are like, you know, hey, yo, we're not, again, taking the sides of the corporations here, but there is a workplace, I guess, you know, paperwork-esque element to it where maybe you just, you know, there just can't be like a total randomness of like, okay, this guy's just gonna show up and get in the ring, like, hey, let's just pull this guy off the you know, the stands, and then if he knocks out Canelo, does he get the belt? You know, I guess technically, but probably also not really. But that's the thing, it kind of should work that way. It's like, hey, this is what the fight is. If you win the fight, then hey, you get the belt. So again, I get you have to function as a league and there has to be something at the end of the day, but you're still doing that through TV and the ads and all the different stuff. I didn't, you know, compensation from the fighters. Like, am I wrong? Do the NBA players have to pay dues to be in the NBA? You know, again, I guess there could be a version of that somewhere. You know, and we're not, you know, if it happens and a player wants to pay their dues to be in the league, you know, what are we gonna tell him not to do that? You know, obviously, maybe if you could play in the free league and get paid for it, maybe that's a better bet. Just do that. Seems like the math's a little bit better on that one, but I don't know. You know, if I guess, you know, and maybe like tennis is a little bit like this as well too. You know, there are of course those sports that have a different barrier to entry because of that type of stuff. But yeah, I don't know if, you know, is boxing one of those things? I'm even trying to think on like a basic level. Like, if we were to go sign up to a gym and try to win like a gym tournament, I guess we would be paying the dues in terms of the membership to the gym. So maybe if we, you know, if we decided like, okay, I guess I won the tournament, I don't want to pay the gym membership anymore, like still give me my belt, then, you know, I guess, I don't know what the argument, you know, it's still confusing. It's still confusing. You know, I guess if it's one single belt that is like a pass around belt, then of course you would have to, you know, what do they call it? They don't say confiscate the belt. What is relinquish the belt? I think it is relinquish. You would of course have to relinquish the belt if you relinquish your gym membership. But and maybe we could just look into the details of it as well too. I'm sure that's a possibility. I'm sure there are stories out there covering it. But regardless, it's like why does he have to pay extra after the fight or whatever? I guess like I'm saying, I just don't understand it. That's how I'll phrase it. I don't understand it. So if you make it make sense on a corporate level, then I guess, you know, I'll probably not understand still why you have to do that, and then just don't, you know, just run on the ads or whatever. But, you know, just be the NFL or the NBA at some point. But also, you know, I just don't understand it as well too. So, you know, shout out to Terrence Crawford we all saw it. It's history nonetheless. And it still goes into the record books as well, too. I think it's, again, him giving up the current status, obviously what that means for him in terms of, you know, the fight that would be next in terms of determining the championship. You know, is he, you know, choosing the opponent? Is he in the fight? You know, is the belt being passed along? Is it interim? You know, I guess I'll have all the different mechanics of that, you know, I'm sure obvious. But, yeah, either way, you know, at this point retiring, I guess we couldn't say with great knowledge, you know, of where he would rank in terms of the greatest fighters of all time. And if I started naming fighters as well too, again, I wouldn't even really know how to rank them. Like, is Marvin Hagler a better all-time fighter than Terrence Crawford? At some point, you know, maybe for the boxing fan, and this is the difference between the casual and, you know, the sort of committed, I guess, hardcore fan. And of course, I think for the NBA, I think it's fair to say that we would probably go into, you know, the non-casual side of things for an NBA fan would be my guess. Hey, yo, Jack Collinsworth on the desk for college basketball halftime. Can we get Chris Collinsworth in for college basketball halftime? Just because, honestly, if you have two guys that you're confident in, I just would throw Chris on the other side of the desk and just have Chris and Jack and two analysts. I think that'd be fun. But he's probably, you know, he's locked in. Speaking of study and film check, Chris Collinsworth getting ready for Sunday Night Football. I'm not saying that he's watching film of Sunday Night Football. He's probably watching film of Pat Mahomes. But he's watching film nonetheless. He's like, oh, Mike, I prepared for this game all week by watching Pat Mahomes. It was just great. It was just great. Boy, I love watching Pat Mahomes. And now we get to watch a Sunday night game. It's like, no, Chris, you were supposed to watch the film of the Sunday night game. Oh, wait, I thought that was the job. But, yeah, what were we saying before we got distracted? Something about, did it have to do with Wemby, Chad? I think it probably had to do with Wemby. I'm not sure. But, yeah, shout out to the you know, the busy man, Jack Collinsworth. I mean, the Collinsworths, Chad, have always been busy men. Hey, yo, it is what it is. Do we need to go back to some of the iconic Chris Collinsworth quotes from back in the day? That'll be the next, you know, you don't want to necessarily say apex for Chris Collinsworth, but he'll have that moment where all of a sudden the quotes will they'll start being back. You'll be like, hey, yo, you know, we got to enjoy the Chris Collinsworth time when we have it. Not, you know, hey, yo, but just in terms of the broadcast, but, you know, you've got every old announcer it is what it is. And I'm not even saying he's old yet at this point, shout out. But I'm just saying, when he gets to those years, every old announcer just becomes unhinged. It is what it is. I guess, when will we become unhinged on the live stream? Ayo, chat, we might not even, will we even have to be old before we get unhinged? Who knows? I mean, we're saying we put Chris Collinsworth on college basketball analysis, so we might be unhinged right now, honestly. It is what it is. And, we're saying the Spurs should be in the Western Conference Finals at some point as well, too. Oh, we were talking about Terrence Crawford versus Marvin Hagler. That's what it was. So, I mean, hey, see what? We might be unhinged. Terrence. But I guess that's a fair debate, right? I mean, again, we're talking about the greatest of all time. So what I was going to say is, and maybe in some ways I'm actually trending more toward a casual mindset in terms of the greatness stuff. But of course you get really obsessive about like what the specific order is. And, just I guess again, what it would be is how exactly does the list play out. And I do think that maybe as we move, as time moves on, as we get more advanced as a society, I think that tiers culture, of course, is definitely a real thing, and ranking things by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is different than, S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier. But again, that is a little bit more vague and more, all of these guys are kind of on the same playing field. And again, as a non-boxing expert who, I feel like I can watch a match obviously and have a fun time and kind of understand what's going on. And obviously the more you watch, like I'm still getting smarter. Again, sometimes it's like knowing words to a song, where it's like, I don't even know if I could really sing you the song, but once the song starts playing, it's like, yes, I absolutely, once I get going with the song, get the momentum, then yes, the words, just somehow I know the words of the song. It's like, I don't really know anything about boxing, but when I'm watching boxing, like I kind of understand what's happening. But I can't imagine that Terrence Crawford is not an S tier boxer. And I also can't imagine that the Canelo fight was his last fight. I mean, that would be, among the best last fights of all time, just from a performance standpoint as well, too. Not necessarily even like yet again, our boxing knowledge, was every last great fighter like either, not good, or was it like the heroic underdog, shouldn't have won the fight, but dug deep in the later rounds and got there? Like, I'm sure that there are a lot of great boxers that went out in their last fights were very, very good fights at a very, very high level. Like, I guess I was thinking UFC for a second. I'm trying to think like George St. Pierre. I don't know if he had like a bad last fight, maybe, but I know that he did, of course, he had his title, he had to win that back at one point, but I don't know like the last exact fight that he had. Either way, that'd be UFC. But yeah, for boxers, I mean, hey, you need us to tell you who the greatest boxers of all time are. I mean, I don't know if you can put anybody above Tyson or Ali. Again, as a non-boxing guy, that would just be my kind of random opinion. Those would be the two names. I guess not even opinion, but it would just be like, wait a second, isn't it Tyson and Ali? Like, Tyson and Ali have to be the two best. And maybe people, again, like, do boxing nerds get it? Boxing nerds. And now we're getting derogatory, chat. Hey, is nerd is not a bad term, right? It's because then that's bad to the nerds to say if it's a bad term. But Revenge of the Nerds is going to be a real thing. But that's just a term I'm throwing out there. I know it's like a movie or a book or something, but I guess I don't even really know what it's about. But maybe the boxing, the boxing veterans, the boxing smarter people would say that there would be specific things about, certain fighters where technically, like, again, in the technical aspects of boxing, we know about boxing, chat. You see these technical punches we're throwing over here? This is technique. But the greatest, is there other, like we're saying, more the well-rounded version of the fighter aspect of it, where, I don't know if, even what the NBA comparison of it would be. Somebody with like insane knockout power. And again, as a non-boxing guy, I wouldn't necessarily know what Tyson's weaknesses per se would be. He can't stop fighting. I guess, we mean like, he's getting into the ring in his 60s. That's all we mean by that. He can't stop fighting professionally. We try to has was that. But his one downside as a boxer was, again, he faced a guy that was like 40 years younger than him, I guess. But or again, had a human moment against Buster Douglas. Like, I guess that can't happen at some point. And you get in the midst of a great run, and it's like, again, you want the run to keep going, or just you don't know necessarily what is going to be the moment to disrupt that. Again, I don't know if Buster Douglas ended the run, but at least for the disruption that it was. But yeah, I guess Mayweather, and again, now we would just start knowing guys from our time as well too. The heavyweights, of course, Fury's got to be in the mix for the greatest of all time. But is Tyson Fury a better all-time fighter than Terrence Crawford? Like, I do think that, I'm not saying that I'd be less confident in a Tyson Fury fight. Am I crazy? Muhammad Ali was a heavyweight, right? See, again, hey, yo, this is how you know we're definitely not crazy. Greatest heavyweight boxer in history. Shout out. And I guess, hey, yo, if you're looking at Tyson Fury as a heavyweight as well, I mean, Muhammad Ali was jacked up. It's not like he's a small heavyweight per se. Do we have to go Muhammad Ali weight? What was Muhammad Ali's his playing weight? 236? I guess what is a boxing weight? What is like Anthony Joshua's weight? Again, just if we're looking physique. Hey, yo. Kilograms? Now we have to do a conversion chart. Oh, 234. I was going to say, yeah, as I was typing that in, I was like, Ali, Anthony Joshua, like, they are pretty similar. Just, pause size-wise. Hey, yo, it is just Tyson Fury. He's just, the monster that he is, respectfully, in the great way that it led him to be, one of the greatest boxers of all time. Just, and I guess, Terrence Crawford and Tyson Fury, if we're going to watch a fight, with all due respect to Floyd Mayweather, I'd probably rather watch a Tyson Fury fight versus Floyd Mayweather. I mean, maybe I'd rather watch a Tyson Fury fight versus anybody, just because Tyson Fury is, can get so chaotic, and then also he can bounce back with the a knockout punch, or his ability, like we saw against Wilder, like his ability to just eat a punch as well too. It's like, how is this guy still? How is he still alive? Hey, yo, the highlight where Fury rises up off the mat is one of the craziest. Like I can't believe that he was able to recover and win that fight. Like, he's just legitimately unconscious. It's like when Devontae Adams got knocked out. It was like, he's playing 3 plays later. Like, what's happening? But if you get a belt, I guess, for getting a first down on the next play. I guess, just other names that immediately pop up. I mean, and again, these are all, if we were just to start thinking of boxing names that we know, I know that, we could summon a lot of these names at some point. But, like Evander Holyfield versus Terrence Crawford. I guess we can't necessarily run like ChatGPT simulations on that, because there is weight class differences for some of these guys. Oh, Jake LaMotta. That's right. Jake LaMotta is a real fighter. I mean, shout out. I mean, the idea of the De Niro movie is to pay homage, not to steal. Hey, yo. It's like, oh yeah, Jake LaMotta's not Robert De Niro. He's a real guy that actually fought and was pretty good as well too. So, I don't know. Jake LaMotta versus Terrence Crawford. Is that a matchup that could happen with the weight classes as well too? Here, hey yo, let's double. We don't even know what weight class that Terrence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight was. It was just a fight that happened, and we liked watching it. But he is a lightweight to super middleweight, including undisputed champions, a light welterweight. And I guess there is more weight classes in boxing than there is UFC, or maybe just different titles across it. But he is, I guess, and it was saying up to super middleweight, but super, so I guess is middleweight bigger than welterweight, or is it the other way around? Now we have to look up boxing classes as well too. But he's second ever 3-time undisputed world champion. So yeah, I guess greatest middleweight boxers of all time. So again, Canelo, AO, because of the modern day association as well. Pacquiao Is he in the mix? So Sugar Ray is a middleweight. Roy Jones. I guess now we sound like Tyson Fury. You know, we're just talking about the class at this point. Roberto Duran. Bernard Hopkins, the oldest champion. I love the titles on here for the Google search. So yeah, Ray LaMotta. Hey yo, now Ray Liotta versus Terrence Crawford. Jake LaMotta versus Terrence Crawford actually could have been a matchup then in terms of the weight classes. Tony Zale, I guess we don't know who that is. Gene Fulmer. Now it's in some names. Yeah, this is maybe going back to a different time chat. Hey yo, Gene Fulmer, Mickey Walker, and Bob Fitzsimmons. I mean, again, I'm not showing this in the background. It is what it is. But yeah, definitely a run of guys that might be in the same neighborhood as the McNeelys. I don't know. You know, we could take a look there. But otherwise, some of these names, yeah, now we're just starting to go to, I don't know if they're deep cuts, but maybe like the second team all legends at some point. Paul Pender, Young Corbett III. Is his name just Young Corbett III? Benny Briscoe, shout out. I mean, some of these iconic old just magazine covers as well too are great. So yeah, I guess Marvin Hagler was also a middleweight. Marvin Marvelous Hagler. Here, the Fight City. I guess we don't even know what's a good blog, chat. You got to tell us what's the best fight blog. Can Max Kellerman call in and tell us where does Terrence Crawford rank all times? I guess we'll have to tune into the next show, chat. Hey yo, a reason to watch Max and Rich Paul talk sports. Shout out to Max Kellerman for just always having just like, wait, why is Max with this guy type of pairings. I mean, I don't know if Max, I mean, obviously he can do his own show. I'm not saying that he can't do his own show. I don't know if it's because he is such a good conversationalist as well too, that, you know, he is, you know, either way, shout out Max Kellerman. I guess he's just good at talking sports, so you can kind of put him in any environment. But just in terms of who he's co-hosted shows with, I don't know if he still has, and we could, I guess, go through and look at all the pairings that he's had. I mean, at the end of the day, him and Stephen A was pretty good. It's just, again, both those guys are elite. It's just, you know, hey, yo, I guess you could make the, you know, obviously the statements about Stephen A. Is he getting a little worried? Max Kellerman, there were some clips we were seeing, speaking of scrolling Instagram. It's like, I forget somebody made some statements about Max, and Stephen A was like, hold up, I got to challenge you there. And it was like, I mean, I get it. You know, you're making some pretty bold claims in front of Stephen A. But I don't know what the timeline of those claims made to Max Kellerman, you know, now all of a sudden 2 years later reappearing. But I don't know if we expected him. What were the betting odds of Max Kellerman's going to go from hosting a show with Stephen A. Smith to Rich Paul? Hey, yo, we didn't see that one happening. But shout out Rich Paul hosting a sports pod. I mean, I guess just the Clutch Sports agent just has a pod. I guess. I mean, you know, that is cool, but, you know, I guess he's probably also going to hot take really like the Clutch guys would be my guess. I don't know. We going to get some, is Lonzo still a Clutch? Was Lonzo ever a Clutch guy? We going to get some honest Darius Garland takes from Rich Paul? Is Rich Paul going to be like, you know, Darius Garland, I don't know if I've been thinking of maybe I can sign Knipple. Maybe I can maybe there's some other point, you know, Cade Cunningham. I've been looking at Cade. Maybe Cade's already a, you know, Clutch guy as well too. You know, hey, yo, Rich Paul, if there's a guy that Rich Paul wants to sign, he's probably going to sign him. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, he's probably trying to steal Simmons away from the baby doll Dixon himself. But now we're just, you know, talking deep cut ringer lore here. But they do have Henry Gerb. The Fight City has Henry Gerb as the #1 middleweight of all time. So Henry, the Smoke City Wildcat Gerb versus Terrence Crawford, I guess, is the all-time matchup according to Fight City. It says the Smoke City Wildcat is forever the greatest of all of them. At 160, he has rarely weighed more and was clearly the best in the division for years. He finally won the world title in 1923. Gerb went on to score legendary wins over Billy Misk, Tommy Gibbons, Jeff Smith, Mike Gibbons, Tommy and Mike Gibbons, the first McNeelys, Tommy Lundgren, Mickey Walker, and Gene Tooney. Ooh, Gene Tooney. I guess Joe Tooney's got an H. This guy doesn't have an H in his name, but we were about to do association there as well too. This is Joe Tooney's grandpa was a middleweight. His grandpappy, Gene Tooney, is a middleweight. I don't think so, though. He only lost 8 times in over 300 bouts. So I don't know if guys even get to 300 bouts these days as well. I guess there's a list of honorable mentions here. I don't know when this was made. Was this list made in 1930? It might have been. No, August 24th of this year. So wait, where's Terrence Crawford? I guess we got to figure out. Hey, yo, Rem Sam live stream figures out where Terrence Crawford's career, what happened in Terrence Crawford's career. It is what it is. Again, we just go, oh, there's a fight that we can watch on this day, and these guys are fighting. We like that. And I guess heavyweight is in boxing, that's the easiest one to just know. I don't know if I guess we are a more committed UFC fan. It is what it is. You know, we've probably watched more UFC fights than actual boxing matches just because there's been more random ones on as well too. And, you know, we probably had more stretches of like watching them in a row versus just like tuning into every boxing match. 42-0. Hey, I mean, of course, like we're saying, and that fight was at middleweight. He won at middleweight, won at welterweight. So I guess welterweight mostly for his career, and then light welterweight earlier in like I guess 2016. The man is just racking up fights though. So didn't scroll back in the years as far as I thought he was. So 2008 would have been his first professional fight listed, and then won the WBO lightweight title in 2014, retained light welterweight in 2015. And then, yeah, it was light welterweight through the 20 teens up until 18-19 when he went to just the welterweight, I guess. So, hey, yo, the search continues. Best welterweight boxers of all time. And we'll see who Terrence Crawford has to fight. I mean, again, he can go up to middleweight and fight everybody. But, I mean, if he's going to go up to middleweight and fight Hagler, if he's going to fight those guys at middleweight, we're not going to doubt Terrence Crawford, hey, yo, the minute he retires. But that is for guys that live in that weight class. I guess they're, you know, hey, yo, does Canelo live in that weight class? It is what it is. So Fight City, man, they love the old boxers. You got to give it to them for respecting the history. But, I mean, Ted the Kid Lewis, Jack Britton, I don't know. Tommy Hearns, okay. Jose Naples, Jimmy McLaurin, Kid Gavilan. I mean, any of these names that I'm reading, these are all old guys. These are all, I mean, you know, a black and white photo is not, you know, doesn't have to be crazy old. But there is just a datedness to the photo quality here of all of these guys. It's like photos of people taking pictures. Like somebody has like a literal photograph on a table. It's like, here, I'm just going to take a picture of this real quick. This is all we have. But we've got Sugar Ray Leonard at 4. So is he even like 80s? I mean, some of these guys, okay, Emil Griffin is the 60s, arguably the greatest boxer of the 60s, pound for pound. Emil Griffith. How have we never heard about Emil Griffith before? Oh, chat, there's a guy in here named Dick Tigger. Whoa! Hey, yo! This guy might be the greatest boxer out of all time. We just have to call him that. I mean, you're not going to hear us make fun of it. Fulmer, oh, they had a match in 63, which is going crazy. So a 60 is the peak of boxing. I guess, you know, and then I guess up until the 2000s. It was really just the 20th century was the peak of boxing. It is what it is. So yeah, they have Sugar Ray as the best welterweight of all time. So it's Sugar Ray versus Terrence Crawford. Are we finally getting it right? Is that the all-time matchup? Sugar Ray, Mickey Walker versus Terrence Crawford. When did Mickey Walker fight? Few do not rank the Bulldog amongst the greatest fighters of all time, pound for pound. It was as a welterweight that Walker did his best work with wins over Jack Britton, Pete Lotso, Lou Tedler, Sailor Fridman, Mike, and just all of his guys. Just Mike. Ayo. No, it's Mike McTiggy, McTeague, maybe. The Toy Bulldog. Hey, yo, Irishman whose makeup of strengths and guts. Okay, wait. Should we start over, chat? Reading this article, I don't know if we just pick up in the middle of a sentence like that. But it says there's a character archetype that's been floating around for decades, if not centuries. The scrappy Irishman who makes up with strengths and guts what he lacks in stature, whose craggy boyish features, I don't even really know what craggy means, whose craggy boyish features belie a fury temper, and whose loyalty to the Catholic Church is surpassed only by his devotion to the bottle and his manly arts. That is literally the first sentence of the article on, who is this guy again? Mickey Walker, whose craggy boyish features belie a fury temper, and his loyalty to the Catholic Church is surpassed only to his devotion to the bottle. I mean, chat, this was written 7 months ago. Hey, yo, July 14th. Do we have to call him out? Matthew Brousseau! Whoa! What are we doing here? I mean, shout out to our devoted bottled Irish, fans in the chat. But I don't know if we have to put him on blast like that for, all of time. It is what it is. Nicknamed the Toy Bulldog in reference to his stature and aggressiveness, Mickey Walker began fighting at the age of 17 after World War I ended. See what I mean, chat? There's an era that the Fight City loves for these fighters. It is what it is. And they're like, okay, well, Sugar Ray Robinson has to be the best. But I don't know if we go light welterweights now. Top 25 welterweights of all time, and there's a picture of Jake Paul on the thumbnail. Oh, chat. And this article's from 2009? There's no way this is right. When did this get updated? What is happening? Bing AI, or Bing just search in general, I guess, is going crazy. Oh, wait. Oh, I was going to say, the pod episode they are advertising is from yesterday. I was like, this article's from yesterday? As well as the future. So where does it have Jake Paul at? Hey, yo, Tommy Hearns at 11. Okay. Oh, I thought it said Charles Burley. Charlie Burley. Charles Burley. I was going to say, hey, yo, don't do our guy Charles Barkley like that. But I guess 1936 to 1950 was his career. Yeah, Young Corbett III, 1919 to 1940. Harry Lewis, 1903 to 1916. I mean, we got to give respect to these years because Michigan was also at the forefront of college football at this time, winning every national title. But, again, I just don't know what the era comparison is here when we're saying how do they hold up in a fight against Terrence Crawford. Barney Ross from 1929. I mean, let's be honest, chat. Terrence Crawford's going to kill Barney Ross from 1929. It is what it is. He doesn't stand a chance. I mean, they have Emil Griffith again at number 7 of all time. The greatest pound-for-pound boxers of the 60s is the 7th best welterweight. 60s might seem a little weak, honestly, if that is the case then. But Kid Gavilan, 43 to 58. Hey, yo. And maybe some of these divisions are just era specific. It is what it is. Gavilan would enter his finest years defeating Johnny Bratton in May for the NBA title and assuming the vacant title by Robinson, who moved to middleweight. Gavilan would in fact lose only one non-title affair between November 50 and April 1954. I just saw NBA in the article and I was like, wait a second, what happened? But I think that was just the name of a boxing title. Back then, it was just called the NBA title. National Boxing Association? That's probably what it was, honestly. Probably not that difficult to figure out. But, yeah, I guess, again, with Robinson moving to middleweight as well, I guess him and Crawford. So that's the fight. The fight is Robinson versus Crawford. And I guess, obviously there's no telling. So, yeah, for us, like we're saying, it's just like, I guess the all-time fight would have been Ali versus Tyson just in general. But if we're going division specific, then I guess that's the heavyweight fight. And now we know that our welterweight fight would be Terrence Crawford versus Sugar Ray Robinson. But I guess if we're putting he could fight. So I don't know if we're given, because now we have to look up Sugar Ray Robinson's career. Maybe he had a better run as like a multi-division title. I don't know. And I guess, again, Terrence Crawford in terms of the welterweight titles was definitely run around there. But does he fight Sugar Ray at both, or at just welterweight, or at just middleweight? Or does he fight Sugar Ray at welterweight and then he fights Hagler at middleweight? Or how do we make that round robin work of Hagler versus Sugar Ray Robinson? I guess here, let's look real quick and see if they actually ended up fighting at some point. So I don't know, would that be a better all-time matchup than Crawford versus Canelo alone as well too, if those guys did fight, just to compare their legacies, to help boost their legacies, I guess we should say, for against the other people. Let's see here. We've got to find their career stats here. Let's see. Okay, they did fight. If you type in Marvin Hagler, actually Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Ray Robertson pops up as the Wikipedia page before either of their names do. So it's literally called the super fight. I mean, see, this is stuff we should know about, but, you know, as, I guess, casuals, you know, it's just the stuff that you never look into at some point. Leonard wins via 12-round split decision. Ooh, chat. April 6, 1987? We might have to see if... I mean, there's no way that this is not on the YouTube, right? There's no way that we can't look... Let me see if I can... Can we find this? We might be watching this tonight, chat. Hey, yo. I mean, not live, unfortunately. If you guys want to... I guess if you guys want to watch it with us in spirit, you know, throw it on in the background, and maybe we'll have thrown it on as well, too. I don't know. We'll post over at the REMINGTOM story on IG. Maybe we'll... a little screenshot. I don't know. But let's see here. We've got Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard 1. Yeah, on this day, free fight, top ranked boxing, 5 million views. Make it 5 million in one, chat. We're putting it in the watch now. There's also a 1-hour video as well, too. So wait, as we continue to learn about boxing history, I mean, this might just... Is 2026 the year we watch old boxing fights? That could be a lot of fun. That could be a lot of fun. If not 2026, make no mistake, January 2026? Boxing month. How about that? I don't know if that's taken already, but if we're talking about the sport, you know, we'll call it boxing month. So we've got, yeah, what do you say? Hagler versus Leonard, 87 with, I guess, spoiler alert anyways, Leonard winning. That's okay. I'm sure the fight itself will still hold up. Oh, chat, the secondary computer was doing so well up until right now. We may have to reset. It's okay. I guess we can go to break. It's halftime. Spurs up by 2. Ooh, it's a close one. We'll see if the clutch minutes continue for San Antonio and if they can potentially close out this one as well, too. But, yeah, we'll take a break, chat. We'll be right back. We get the computer working, get the boxing history figured out, get the second half going. It's going to be fun. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. And as we about to, hey yo, take two. As we're about to get the second half underway for this NBA Cup final, I did see on the ESPN ticker. I guess the game's not on ESPN, but just having a couple screens going. Arkansas tonight in college basketball is playing a team called Queens. Hey yo, is this just like a team from New York, just from Queens, just called Queens? Is there? I guess there might actually be, because Long Island is a team, right? Am I crazy? Do we have to look up the Long Island basketball, sports basketball? Whatever? I was wondering, is there teams from all the boroughs? Is there like a borough championship? Wait, do you get the man? Is there a Manhattan? I feel like that team should just be called the Manhattan Project. Honestly, that might kind of work. I don't know, but let's see here. Long Island, yeah, Long Island University. Hey, yo, shout out. So, I don't know if the basketball reference page is going to have the location of those. Does it have the school address? Oh, North Carolina? It has Queens and then NC in parentheses. Is that like North Quarter? I guess, does quarter start with the C? North Corner? Maybe that's the word. The Queens Royals. I don't know. Maybe that sounds more like New Orleans, honestly, or something. But I guess North Carolina is what we're guessing at this point. So maybe there's not a team from every borough, but I don't know. I just, for some reason, that would just be funny if a team had just had like 5 guys with New York accents. I mean, that wouldn't, I guess you could just say that could be a team that the New York Knicks have if it was like, some homegrown talent or something like that. But I don't know, just if they were called Queens as well too, just Queens, they don't even have a mascot. Just like, hey, we can't even do, if we could do a New York accent, I guess it would actually be a funny bit. But yeah, if it was just 5 guys from Queens playing Arkansas tonight, could be getting their degrees, chat. Could be a feisty matchup. I think Arkansas was up by like 30 or 40. But, get a couple of good threes, get some good reps. Practice makes perfect. They'll get them next year. And maybe it inspires Manhattan to do a little bit. Brooklyn? I mean, I guess Brooklyn as well too is, hey yo. That is, I don't know why Queens is the best one to Staten Island. I guess Staten Island as well too. If Staten Island had a team, that could be kind of fun. But yeah, Queens, shout out. So Queens Royals, I guess, that would make sense team name wise as well too. It kind of is honestly just double mascot. Honestly, they have triple mascot. It's Queens Royals, but their logo's a lion. So it's Queens and Royals, and it's also like a very male looking lion. I guess, I don't know. I can't, are we a animal biologist over here? I was going to say a marine biologist, but I think that's ocean scientist. Ocean life scientist. So I don't know what they would know about differentiating. I guess they could probably, I'm assuming they could find a way to differentiate between lions. But I don't know if looking at the logo on the Queens mascot, they would have easy ways to tell. But hey yo, we'll I guess shout out to Grant Leonard for the 5-6 start to the season. We'll see what happens with this team. What conference is Queens in? The Sun Conference, the Atlantic Sun. Is that the name of the conference? Yeah, the Atlantic Sun with Lipscomb, Austin Peay, Florida Gulf Coast. Oh, this conference is stacked. Stetson, yeah, Bellarmine. Maybe I'm not as familiar with, I guess, but Lipscomb, Austin Peay, and Florida Gulf Coast, and Jacksonville. Honestly, not Jacksonville State, of course. Shout out to Dion, but yeah, and Stetson as well too. Like I said, North Florida, East Kentucky. I feel like East Kentucky's been in the tournament. They're 3-8 this year, but yeah, shout out Florida Gulf Coast, iconic Mistress Tournament team from previous years. Fun team to watch, of course. With the, I guess, did they have it wasn't Lob City, wasn't their nickname, of course. Ayo, there's one Lob City. R.I.P. Chris Paul and the Clippers. Unfortunately, he can't go back. He'll never be able to celebrate. I guess that part did probably get brought up at some point. But I mean, yeah, they did him dirty now, but also like, that's the best teams they've ever had was the Lob City teams. That not just that they also disrespected a player. It's it's maintaining that relationship. But if they want to honor that team, Now the best player on the team's got like a beef with the team. Hey, yo. So no disrespect to, maybe other guys in other franchises, but there have been, there have been cases with other guys beefing with the franchise where it's like, yes, this is a legend. You don't want this, obviously. But, and also that does get other legends probably beefing with the franchise as well, too. Hey, yo. But, I mean, beefing with the franchise could be the Knicks story there for a while, honestly. It could be a book. We might have to we're going to go to the bookstore and be like, do you have that Knicks book, Beefing with the Franchise? And we'll see if, or the Clippers, that'd be a Clippers book maybe as well. Be like, do you have that new book about the Clippers beefing with the franchise? And we'll see if, no, just type it into your computer. I swear, I looked it up online. I swear it's here. I swear they said it's here, but I can't find it. Can you point me in the direction of beefing with the franchise? Which shelf is beefing with the franchise on? But yeah, right now, Chris Paul beefing with the chapter starts, and then we'll go through the history. It is definitely a Clippers book. It's 100% a Clippers book. I guess no shout out to the Clippers, but shout out to the Clippers for the book. I don't know who would write it. Perlman? I don't even know NBA book authors in 2025. We might have to ask the ChatGPT. Give us 10 NBA book authors. Who's writing books in 2025? We need to hit the audiobooks on Spotify a little bit more. New Year's resolution, chat. Hey, yo. New Year's resolution. Audiobooks? We'll see. Do we fire up an audiobook in the gym? Do we work out to an audiobook? I don't know. We've said that we can basically listen to any type of music for a workout. That's fine. Podcast, great. I'm pro podcast during a workout. I get the idea of, hey, yo, you want to play your craziest hype music at the gym to get motivated? Again, I guess it's whatever works. But I don't know if I necessarily, I guess it's not true, for sure. I will say, like, when you do throw the right song on for the right workout, like, you can push out an extra rep. Like, you're like, yes, the beat for this song will help me get a PR, for sure. It is what it is. But sometimes, hey, yo, I don't know if it's a lack of commitment to the gym. It's definitely, I would hope not. I would say, consistency in the way we push ourselves in the workouts. Maybe, you're kind of forcing yourself to push a little, push yourself a little more because you don't have the motivation. But then again, I think there is, if you would compare a workout where it was like, if we curated a workout specific playlist but maybe it is also the hit of a workout song in the mix of everything. Maybe if you go from a podcast to, hey, yo, then all of a sudden a 50 Cent is on. You're like, hey, maybe the jump in energy will actually help the workout. But, I guess I was going to say, if it's all 50 Cent, guess what? The workout's still probably going to be pretty good. Actually, you know what? If you play one 50 Cent song, you're probably just going to end up, 50 Cent is a league leader in, if I play the playlist, I'll turn the shuffle off and be like, let me just play the rest of this 50 Cent album here. It is what it is. I guess because we have albums saved to the playlist. It is what it is. I guess, and not a hot take to say, if you were going to save an album to a playlist, obviously 50 Cent is going to have albums that you're going to be doing that with. But yeah, of course, if we were doing a scientific side by side, I think there would be definite, but maybe over time, I think maybe the secret would honestly just be to work out to get rich, die trying every time. Not something that I would say that, again, it's like, have we listened to it enough during workouts to say that is it a go-to? For sure. Do we just commit to listen to it like literally every workout? I don't think it would get old, and I think it would be motivating every time. And that might be the one, I guess. One workout out best. So are we just saying it? I don't know. I don't think it's a hot take. It's like, what's the most basic workout? Not basic, but like, what's a top tier, just, and basic in a good way as well too. Just that, that everybody listens to it factor, that everybody would know it factor. And if you played it, the familiarity with the, of course, iconicness of that project. And, even, it is always been one of the highest streaming daily albums on Spotify for the genre. But of course, with 50 Cent, maybe even with the doc that he just produced, people talking about him a little bit more too. People were maybe bumping that album a little bit extra as well. 50 Cent was on the mind, chat. Hey, yo. But Yeah, that one, there's a couple that always, I don't know, maybe we're saying too much for a later episode, but there's a couple that have been, and that one, of course, dropped this century as well, too. Of course, 21st century. So there's a couple from the earlier part of the century, decade plus albums that still in the dailies, it's not that, they just stream well in the dailies. It's not just Drake as well, too. Even Drake, of course, like 2011, I would say, and the second one I'm thinking of, I guess if we're going 2010, sub 2010, is that the right way to say it? Pre 2010, 2000 to 2010, or even just 2010, if we're maybe like 90 to 2010, 95, there's a couple, if that's like a streaming sort of throwback time in a way, because, we wouldn't have had streaming in 2010 as well. So in that sense, it would have been, again, definitely throwback. But, there's a couple that, of course, you're just like, yes, this is being, listened to as much as everybody. Oh, chat, Queens is down only 16. Oh, no, 26. Hey, yo, Rem can't do math. Oh, so close. I thought maybe they cut into the lead. But, nope, 40 to 66 as the second half gets underway. Shout out to the guys from Queens. Hopefully they continue to do okay over there against the Calipari-led Razorbacks. Hey, yo. A little sketch. Oh, no. Hey, yo. Right as we said that, the OBS disconnected. I don't blame it, chat. I didn't like the way it sounded, honestly. I think we just got to keep calling them Arkansas for the rest of the year. It is what it is. But, yeah, we will keep monitoring the score for that game anyways. I don't know. Queens, we'll keep an eye on them for 2025. They'll be a team we check in on every now and then. But, yeah, with the second half underway here. Hey, yo, third quarter flying by. It's in commercial right now, but we gotta lock in. And bowl season's already started as well, too. I don't know what bowl this is. The IS4S, the I-545, is this a highway? Is the highway bowl? The I-80 truck stop bowl? I don't know what we got going on here. Salute to the Veterans Bowl. Oh, shout out. Much different. So I don't know what I guess maybe an organization? I don't know. But I guess we can't quite make out what it is from this spot. But yeah, if it was just like there might be, honestly, a bowl at this point that's just like the bowl. It might be the other way around. Like there might be a bowl that sponsors a highway, honestly. It might be like the IHOP Pancakes Bowl sponsors this highway, and then in return I-45 they sponsor the IHOP Pancake Bowl, I guess. The I-45 IHOP Pancake Bowl. I don't know if that's how it works, but there have been some great. The double sponsor bowl game is the next one, where it's like you can pay for a sponsorship, but we're doing 2 sponsorships on this bowl game. That would be, and then do you have to pay more to be the first or the second sponsor? I don't know. Do you want to be Big Spoon or Little Spoon for the sponsor? I don't know which one. Which one's more, because sometimes. It just depends on the name. Sometimes the last name, people just don't go by their last name as well, too. If it has a, maybe it's less syllables. I don't know. Maybe the way it just, I don't know. The way it sounds is crazy. But, some people just have a good last name where you just, shout out the champ. Hey, yo. That's obviously about as iconic as you can get for a last name, of course. But, and, obviously, strong name all the way around. Shout out 10 out of 10. We're not, hey, yo, sneak this in the man's first name over here. But, just the last name is, it's a 12 out of 10. It is what it is. So, obviously you're going to, if your last name is Champ, you're probably, and I guess that is, you're not saying, hey, I guess, but it is his last name as well, too. So it's not like, hey, Champ. Like, I feel like if you're going around saying that to everybody, that might get a little sketchy. Like, who's the guy just calling everybody champ? I don't know if I would be friends with that guy right away. If they're like, oh, this new manager at work, and he's like, hey, champ, what's going on? That would be bad, honestly. That would be tough. I think the manager would have to be in his 60s, maybe? Maybe he would have to be, maybe he would be to the point where he's like, I don't know if 60 is like too old to fight. It depends on the 60. We're not going to get crazy over here. There's definitely 60-year-olds out there that would beat us up. Make no mistake. Hey, yo, we were just talking about Mike Tyson. If Mike Tyson's the manager, then, I guess Mike Tyson calls champ all he wants. Hey, yo, pause. But, if if the manager's like, we're not to say that we would just, I guess, lose our job over a manager calling us champ, but if it was okay, if this had to get into a physical altercation, and I feel like it's definitely unfair for you at this point. And hey, obviously, if that's the case for him, then he's probably in a pretty frail state. It is what it is. So then we're probably like, we have to let it slide. We're not gonna we're not gonna be mean. We're not gonna risk this poor old man's health because he just called us champ. But it's not gonna be this job's not gonna be his Clippers runs, his last job, because he stepped in and called us champ. But if it was anybody, I guess it would be tough. That'd be a tough way to be introduced to, again, just about anybody. So I guess we know now, thinking about it, if we ever want to get off on the if we ever want to get off on the wrong foot is a crazy statement, but in an old school way, if we can understand what, I was just, in an old school way also sounds, that would maybe make it sound the other way. But if you say something is in the old school sense, I feel like that maybe trends in a certain direction. But either way, for if it's your last name, I think you can it does work. And I don't know, the champ, maybe are we gonna stop calling him champ? Hey, I guess do we call him, we do call him champ sometimes. But if your last name's champ, then if we were walking around being like, hey buddy, I feel like that's the version of that we would avoid for sure. And buddy is right up there as well too. I mean, buddy is more common, definitely way more common than champ. I mean, as condescending as buddy can be, again, there are sometimes guys are just saying it. It is what it is. So you just got to let it slide. And that one we'll give a pass to. It's more of a tone maybe than just the word. But if you're saying champ in general, it is what it is. Or like chief, if you're like, what's up, chief? Maybe, I'd be like, maybe he's just trying to be funny. I don't know. He's like, hey chief, how's it going? Or boss. Like if he's like, hey boss, I'm like, okay, now he's just making fun of us at this point. But yeah, hey champ would be, hey champ might be the worst, honestly. It might be the worst. I mean, for us specifically, there's probably in the name calling terms, we're probably on the lower end of like things that you could say that, could really get to us. But again, I guess champ's gonna rank way up there. Is champ a white guy slur, chat? It might honestly be. I think champ might be a white slur. I think if you go, so I think we might have to stop calling champ. I guess we'll ask him about it after this. I guess we'll get an update. The Friday show, we'll get back to you and see, is champ a white guy slur? If you walk around and say, hey champ, you might be those might be fighting words. Those might be fighting words. Anything in that line, like we're saying, champ, this is the lane, chat. This is the lane. We've always wondered what it was. I don't know if YouTube's gonna disconnect around here, but if you walk around saying the Cracker Barrel for some of these people, I feel like, you could definitely say that with a harsh tone, but unfortunately, I guess I'm sure there's people that probably just want to get offended, by that as well too. But it is what it is. I don't know if it necessarily, I don't know if it cuts that deep, but champ, I think champ will get you. Champ will get you. It is what it is. I mean, that's right up there. But speaking of get you, chat, Dan Hurley and UConn, they got Butler up 14. I don't know if that's a pivot or not, but we got to try to find a way to get back on track in the NBA Cup. There's 5 minutes left in this third quarter. Fortunately, I guess clutch minutes fourth quarter is still in effect. But hey, we got an 11-point lead here. I mean, this is looking like I guess we can't say too much. Fourth quarter comebacks and pause in the NBA are, definitely not foreign to that. But still looking like the performance of a pretty good team here. And the Knicks, there is a conversation about them being, what is their level of safety in terms of picking them in the Eastern Conference? Are they a lineup that you just kind of rely on because of the, we're not saying just because of the name value talent there. Again, it's obviously great guys. But there's a familiarity with this group of guys that maybe at this point you would pick them to make a run out of the conference. But there is and like we're saying, the roster is definitely in a better spot, but maybe that's where, if we're talking about their championship hopes, it has seemed a little bit different this year. I don't know if they have quite played the best basketball in the Brunson Towns era. I mean, Brunson has definitely been pretty crazy for sure. And I'm not necessarily saying, hey, yo, is this just like is Towns not playing well here? We can definitely pull up a New York box score and see what we got going on. I guess assuming the computer has decided to load. Maybe these fight articles are weighing it down. I don't know. Maybe we have to monitor our tab count for tonight. Keep an eye on that. Might be another New Year's resolution for 2026. But hey, yo, we gotta find what we're looking for in New York. Their stats for 2025 Towns. Can we uncover the secrets of Towns' season? And Anunoby, they were showing him in the first half with 20 and still down by 2. I mean, you got to give credit to the defensive backcourt so far on Brunson. And I mean, even Wemby in the mid-range as well, too. Obviously he's going to affect shots from all around the court. And Brunson definitely is going to try to get to that spot on the field. You do have Bridges this year at 52% from the field, 40. So I guess Bridges has been definitely playing his best for sure. And that, eye test wise as well too. Definitely, it's the stats definitely help recall that for sure, that he is being super efficient as well. And Anunoby's stats look good. I guess their box score does look good this year. We can't say that, but there is, and maybe, again, as time and the expectation goes, like when they first get there, it's them ascending, and it's like, oh, is this team going to make that run? Oh, they're actually going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, this is history for the Knicks. This is fun. And then with the injuries and the way it played out, of course, I mean, that's how these things go. That's how your opportunities arise. They definitely could have, matchup wise, like they could have gotten that Knicks team or that Pacers team for sure. I mean, you got to give them credit, but not to say that it's impossible to see them winning that series and end up being in the finals at some point. OKC is a pretty good team. Would New York have won the finals against OKC? I don't know. And maybe Indiana was a better matchup. Again, I don't know if we sit here and doubt Brunson, over Halliburton as well too. But you do have to, the confidence in the matchups and the way he was able to elevate defensively is definitely underrated. I don't know if Brunson could elevate defensively the way that Halliburton was playing there, and then kind of being able to mirror the Thunder a little bit with their lineups in a way, because that is the underrated part about how that series was able to go the distance the way it was. Again, it was in Game 7. Like, in the Thunder, I mean, clearly a better team this year as well too. But, if they were playing a fully healthy version of the Pacers team and the Pacers are playing defense like that, like Halliburton, is in that sort of two guard, point guard, him and Shea, obviously, hey, yo, there's a similar pause. There's like similar dimensions there. Hey, yo. But, yeah, there is, again, the way he was able to step up from a two-way basketball standpoint was very, very important for that Pacers team. But, yeah, this, like we're saying, I'm not, we still got to give it the Knicks lineup, of course, walking it back, chat. Hey, yo, pause. Obviously, are we sitting here saying that they're not the the one seed in the East or the top team that you would pick in the East? But it's definitely still, I guess, maybe the point we're trying to make is it's more of a matter of default at this point, not to be disrespectful as well too. But it hasn't necessarily been them, again, like claiming this conference this year. And of course, mirroring OKC in the other conference, record-wise, dominance-wise, are we holding them to that standard? But I mean, that's not even really a hot take as well too, because again, they're the 2 seed, so they've been climbing up, and as the season goes, they could definitely get there from a record standpoint, where they're clearly, I guess, the best, or even just getting to that 1 seed spot as well too. But we'll need to, I guess, like we're saying, see that kind of take over for the course of the season, where they actually, the conference does become theirs in a real way. And even, the 7-game series things, of course, that will favor sort of the, the better team at the end of the day. It's like, can Boston get them in a 1-game scenario? That gets pretty scary. Or, some of these random teams as well too, where it's like, is there a mental thing going on there? Is there a confidence with somebody, like, Boston's one where it's like, is Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, are they going to be worried about going in there without Tatum to compete against that Knicks team? They're going to be playing their best effort no matter what. So, again, you got to give them their credit in a 7-game series. But still, I don't know if I'm like 100% confident with them in the East. And that is, how you, and it's not, when you have an unproven team, again, I guess the Thunder do have that history now of them winning a title where you have the actual evidence to point to that the lineups do work. But when you have a team that still kind of needs to prove what they can do in a playoff standpoint, the degree, obviously, to which they dominate the regular season would definitely help with the confidence level in that. But the actual, again, them in the matchups as well, too, versus some of these teams that have been a little bit feisty for them in the past is kind of that last level. And the Pacers, or just that matchup as well, that are not even going to be in the mix this year because of the injuries. But maybe the Magic have kind of taken that spot in terms of who could be competing against this team. So, again, the Thunder have clearly claimed it. But I don't even know, Knicks versus the Denver in a finals. And, I don't know if this game says too much. But what would we be looking at a 7-game series as well, too? And this is fun because it is in a neutral environment as well. And, they've closed to 5. So like we're saying, we can't, the fourth quarter, we're going to be sitting here jinxing it as we talk about how we're questioning this team's abilities. But, Wemby, the pull-up jumper, the mid-range. Ooh, the scary vibes, chat. The scary vibes have definitely started. Oh, Kolek's not scared. Kolek's going to attack the basket. Clarkson's not afraid to fire up a basket as well, too. Oh, Keldon Johnson. Scary getting tangled up there. Looks like he's going to get right back up. Who's he getting tangled up with? Is that Mitchell Robinson? If a Knicks player is, laying on the ground, it's probably Mitchell Robinson at some point. Wemby was 16. Chat, I don't know. They might have to bring Wemby off the bench for the regular. That's a long stretch of time to be bringing him off the bench for it to just all of a sudden now we're gonna mix up everything going into the playoffs. But he is, and again with the way the team can sustain in a regular season way in some of these minutes, in the way that allows them to continue to develop as players as well too. And you have a little bit of a crowded roster. You can kind of free up some minutes. You free up Wemby from a health standpoint. I'm sure he wants to compete as well too, and be out there as much as possible, impacting the game. Like you're not necessarily going to want to, again he's going to want to, get those stats, get the, I'm sure potential for accolades, but he's going to be doing that anyways with these numbers that he's putting up. It's still again only the third quarter here, so you imagine he gets to the mid-20s at some point. And I guess if his numbers do look good enough, man, we're going to go from a couple quarters of basketball here. Again, it's only a 5-point lead. But the Spurs are going to win the title. The Knicks might not win the East, and Wemby's going to win MVP. Is that our next statement? But I don't know if we looked at the odds, how far down the list he would be at this point. And again, with Jokic and Shea, Shea, the team success, and we should, like we said before, start with the individual ability leading to the team success. And same with Jokic. Like, you're going to need the crazy historic factor that Wemby might bring to sort of offset what those guys are doing from a production standpoint and in the advanced stats as well, too. Like, Wemby defensively is the two-way impact that he can provide is really the only thing that can, at this point, statistically measure up to what those players are doing. I guess Luka, offensively as well, too, is in the mix. We can't count him out. Giannis, I guess we're just including him in there. We don't even need to say his name at this point. Giannis just lives in the star tier. If we ever say Jokic and Shea and don't mention Giannis, we're just gonna, at this point, just like an internal mention of Giannis in that tier of guys. But he, I guess, what we're saying is could win the MVP this year, but I don't, again, know if he's going to, and I don't know if year 3 Wemby, you don't want to take a potential MVP away from him, or, first team All-NBA. He's definitely first team All-NBA if he's playing 32 minutes a game or 30 minutes a game, but even still, he's still like a second team All NBA guy with these numbers at the worst. And with the way that his plus minus is just staggering sometimes in these shorter minutes stretches, then maybe that would help like an actual, awards case as well too, because you would just see that impact stats wise just jumping off the page like that. And again, not to say that wouldn't be not true about Wemby, but maybe it could get 2 to 3% exaggerated if he is, just way fresher than all these guys as well too. He can just check into the game, and then by the fourth quarter, Wemby's just like totally ready to go. I mean, he's 17 minutes tonight, so you got Fox at 15, Cornet at 12, Barnes at 9, Vassell at 12. Oh, hey, we're looking at points. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say Vassell at 12 minutes is a little bit low, and Castle was definitely not at 9. So yeah, Castle at 27, but Cornet at 18, Barnes at 17 minutes seems much more correct. Champagny at 18. So yeah, okay, yeah, much better. He is much more in the middle of the team. Pause in the minutes stretch. I mean, Harper's at 21 and Wemby's at 17 again in the regular season. If Wemby is Wemby's minus 4 tonight. Okay, chat. Ayo, plus minus. It's a fake stat. It is what it is. But if Wemby's got 16 points in 17 minutes, then Harper can play 21. It's fine. The man is going to get his production. It is what it is. So only 1 block tonight for Wemby, but the streak is alive. That is what counts at this point. I guess, does this game, shout out Joe House, does this game count for the streak? Pause would be the question to ask, but it doesn't matter because he did log the block. I guess it would matter just for counting what the streak would be at this point. Only 2 points for Anunoby in that quarter. And Brunson, see, Brunson's minus 1 as well too. So, Wemby is only 3 points behind Brunson at this point in the plus minus category. That's the only guy that he needs to outplay in our mind from a plus minus standpoint is Brunson. If Towns outplays him from a plus minus standpoint, it is what it is. It's fake stat if that happens. But he's not. He's minus 8 as well. So it is kind of working out a little bit. Bridges minus 11 tonight is interesting. 4 for 11 from the field. Not helping out there. Towns, though, 10 rebounds as well. So we were questioning him early on, and he has definitely proven that. I mean, 16 and 10 through the first couple of quarters is obviously pretty crazy. Fox, 5 for 10 tonight. And Castle, 3 for 11. Been a little bit slow. Losing his 11 assists, though. Losing his All-NBA Cup status. Hopefully not. If he gets a triple-double, though, he's at 9, 6, and 11. If he gets a triple-double, it doesn't even matter what his field goal percentage is because you can post that. You can post Castle triple-double, Spurs win. Wemby 20 points, Castle triple-double. Maybe, even in a loss, you can still post that as well, too. I mean, come on. Wemby's in the post, 120,000 likes, chat. Lock it in. I mean, you could just throw Castle in there as well, too, to help get the notoriety. Oh, Brunson forced him into a tough 3. And he is not able to miss, but he is not able to miss. That's a make. He misses. And the offensive rebound, though, for New York. They keep possession alive. Another offensive rebound for the team. They score. So, Caruso was flying around, and the Thunder team was definitely getting active in that last game. But we could go back and double-check the offensive rebounding numbers. I can't say that it was dramatically different. Ooh, tough 3 from Wemby. But again, with Caruso flying around and maybe them like tipping shots back up, pause, maybe their number was a little bit higher from that way. But them actually like getting rebounds and then resetting a bunch, I don't know if I necessarily, if that was like a crazy flaw in the game. If it was more so than just the turnovers as well too in some of those sloppier possessions. But and speaking of, immediately throw it away in transition. Corner 3. Oh, fortunate miss, but Anunoby or Mitchell Robinson, offensive rebound leading to a 3 and a 3-point lead. So that's like 3 or 4 in a row, and Clarkson's starting to cook. Has he been in an NBA Cup game before? Oh, chat. Did we not consider the fact, was he on, he wasn't on the Lakers or something, no, when they were in the NBA Cup? Because what, has he been on like the Jazz the last couple of years? Where's Jordan Clarkson been? Hey, yo. We might have to double check. But if he's had NBA Cup experience, then, you know, it makes sense that the moment is not too big for Jordan Clarkson. He's been used to this before. So yeah, he was in Utah up until this last season. 16 a game, 17, 20. So only 9 a game this year. And his 3-point percentage is way down, but his 2-point percentage is way up. He's 54% from 2. He was 53% in 22-23. And I don't know, off the bench has affected that a little bit. He was starting more consistently back then. So, you know, not necessarily the same because he's off the bench all the time now, and it's back up to that number. But I guess he was consistently 50% there for a couple of years at the beginning of Utah from 2, and then just kind of dropped off, just a smidge. Just the numbers dipping down just a little bit. 44.8% 2-point field goal percentage last year. But yeah, up to 55% from 2 tonight, and 100% from 3 in the last couple of attempts. And forces Mitch Johnson into a timeout. That needs to be that needs to be a stat that the player the coaches keep at some point. Timeouts forced by a player, and I guess, you know, it's the offensive rebound as well too, keeping the possession alive and then him passing back out for the 3, but the actual shot make, I don't know if he gets the stat at that point. But now 1 timeout force called from our guy Jordan Clarkson. Hey yo, we called quick timeout. Take a water break. Hey yo, we need to get, well, maybe not. Hey yo, keep it moving. More on Jordan Clarkson here. Pause. I guess, but yeah, hopefully we box out. I don't know. We'll have to go double big. Maybe we have to bring Cornette back in the game. Go Cornette, Wemby, Castle, Fox. I don't know. Barnes. Go all forwards. Try to get some rebounds here. What's Barnes at for the... Johnson's at 4 for the game. Honestly, Johnson is a hustler. It's probably got to be Keldon Johnson if we're just trying to stop possessions that way. Johnson, Castle, like we said, he's got to get his triple-double. So, Wemby, Castle, Johnson, Wemby, Castle, Johnson? Hey, yo, Castle Johnson might be kind of crazy, but Wemby, Johnson, Castle? I don't know, but maybe Wemby, Keldon, Castle, and then Cornette, and Barnes only has 2 rebounds, so he's out. Barnes is a corner 3 guy. He's not getting rebounds. It is what it is. Harper, maybe we just throw Harper in there, see if he can get active and fly around as well. But, hey, yo, rebounding for the Spurs is immediately at the top of the list for things to address now and what need to improve majorly on the team. So, yeah, Fox, Champagny, Barnes, Harper, and Wemby is the lineup to go with. Still, I guess, a mix for the Knicks at this point. We still got Kolek in the game. We've still got, like we said, Clarkson, 10 minutes left in the 4th. Mitchell Robinson matching Wemby at this point as well, too. So no Towns, and Anunoby is in the game. So no Bridges in the game for the Knicks. Fox at the free throw line tonight. Hey, yo. And he has, you know, maybe him not attacking necessarily the basket quite as much. I don't know if he has been as aggressive getting to the line overall, but he is tonight. Let's see here. Do we have we don't have free throws on ESPN box score. ESPN box score needs to get some more stats on here. It is what it is. So with those 2, he's up to 4 for 5 now for the line for free throw. Castle 3 for 3. One more free throw trip, and he's got his points. And then, can he get 4 rebounds this quarter? It might be a little much to ask. He's going to get close. It's going to be the Ben Simmons stat. Is this a Simmons chat? We might have to call this a BS. Is this a BS stat line? I don't know what the BS stat line is. Like 1 double digit, and then other ones are over 5. But then you get into LeBron as well, too. If it's like a 27-7, you know, I guess that's technically a BS stat line, but also it's the LeBron. You know, it's jumped into that extra level. Because if you're If you're half of that, so if you're 13, 7, and 7, so it's less than 15 points, but still almost a triple-double. So I don't know, maybe it's like 3 or 4 combined points away from a triple-double. So you could be like 2 points, or like 3 rebounds and an assist away, but over in points, or under in points, over in assists, but whatever the combination between that and rebounds would be. I don't know, but the BS stat line, we may have to workshop it. Also, Draymond as well would get a bunch of those stat lines where it's like 12, 8, and 8, 7, 13, and 5, just like the random almost double-digit, triple-double type games. So those are like, as impactful as you can get. I mean, Ben Simmons, when he's putting up great stats as well, too. I mean, those games at the peak of his powers. Ben Simmons at the peak of his powers? Those games were, he was obviously a super impactful player in the All-NBA case and could have, obviously there could have been other things that maybe could have happened there as well, too. But, the Ben Simmons career, Chad, it was good. We'll see. Is Rich Paul gonna... What will Rich Paul say about Ben Simmons on their pod, Chad? Have they brought that up? Are we going to have to go back and binge the first couple of episodes? Have they brought up Ben Simmons? Can we get Kellerman to bring up Ben Simmons in front of Rich Paul? There's no way. If they're doing a summer show, Rich Paul might have to take the summer off just to avoid Ben Simmons-led topics. But, I don't know. I was going to say we get a birthday or something, but that'd be crazy. Be like, let's bring Ben Simmons up on his birthday. But hey, other than just like, a respectful happy birthday. I mean, it's a man's day. You gotta wish him the best. But, if we can get him talking about the Ben Simmons run, what's Ben Simmons doing now? Is Ben Simmons going to be back? Why, is Ben Simmons still at clutch? That might be a Google search as well, too. So if he's not, then I guess, Rich Paul, talk openly about Ben Simmons. But otherwise, we'll see if maybe for some reason, they stick to current topics. And now we're sub-dissing Ben Simmons as well. But the Knicks, the veteran play, Brunson, it is starting to 5 points now for the Knicks the other way. Little 10-point, 12-point swing here. End of the third, start of the fourth. Regaining control of the game. So the no Wemby minutes, like we've talked about. Vassell now goes into a lead shot-making role there off the pin down. This also goes through Castle, who is unfortunately not having a great offensive night. It is what it is. Brunson gets the little midi to go. So immediately without Wemby in the game, goes right to those mid-range areas, starts attacking those spots in the court. You know that Wemby, hand up is going to be closing out. It's like Wemby's under the basket, but somehow he's closing out on this mid-range jumper because he also does that on three-point jumpers as well, too. So, it's basically everyone on the court. Champagnie wide open. He's got to make it. He has to make it. 4-point game. You've got to get, the game's starting to slip away. Oh, no way they called an offensive foul. Kolek? Did Kolek just draw an offensive foul? Oh, at least Champagnie made it. So that's, not his fault there. But Mitch Johnson, livid. Oh, chat. Kolek. I feel like they might have stereotyped. They're like, well, of course he's going to draw a charge. Oh, or was it? Yeah, I guess you're drawing a charge. If you get a block, that is a foul on you. So, who do we got? Who's the refs, chat? Who are we calling out? Oh, chat, that's a terrible call. Are we reviewing it? Are we getting a challenge? We might have to challenge. Yeah, Mitch Johnson, there we go. Challenge that. Throw a couple of curses in there. I don't know if, maybe stay in the game. We might need him around, but yeah. Let him know, chat. Let him know. That is not ideal. So they're probably going to lose the challenge. It is what it is. The refs now don't want to give Mitch Johnson the call. They want to prove a point. But you love the energy and the passion and fighting for the guys, standing up for his team. Mitch Johnson's up next, chat. Mitch Johnson is up next. This team is, as we're down 5 in the NBA Cup, as we're down 7 in the NBA Cup, this team is set. This is all we need. 7-point loss. We're right there, chat. We're right there. So I don't know if we're bringing Wemby back into the starting lineup now that the game is flipped. But, we're going to have him out there for the last 6 minutes, and he's going to hopefully swing the game back into the favor again. So if we can keep it in a 6-7 point range here, after we get this 3-pointer off this challenge and it's a 4-point game again, he will, if it's in this area, then, it's a game anyways. It's a game even if we don't have Wemby. So you hope that his ability to turn the tide with you keeping it close allows you to maximize, like we're saying, the way you manage those minutes earlier on. Because as long as you have him good for the end of the games and he's able to play a good stretch, basically a normal minute rotation in the fourth quarter, a little light in the first quarter, some good second quarter minutes, maybe kind of see what you need in the third, adjust on the fly if you have to. But even in that OKC game, it felt like it was a good kind of stick to the pace a little bit and just maximize, like we're saying, the end of the game opportunities that you can set yourself up with. And, he's been fortunate enough at this point, like, we don't want to say too much because anything can happen in a guy's career. But if a guy does have those injury risks early on, a lot of times those can continue, of course, or if he's going to be the injury-prone player, obviously injury-prone's got to start at some point. If he's going to get that injury-prone label, it usually doesn't happen at the end of your career. Usually that just happens, that's just the end of your career. But, it's like, okay, well, he made it, and then he got hurt a bunch of times, and it sort of changed. But, if you're actually getting hurt earlier on, but he has, of course, missed some games, but he hasn't necessarily, had like the, oh, is this the tall person thing? Is this like, this is what we're saying, these are the concerns, this is the long-term stuff. Like, he's held up pretty good. And again, we're in 3 seasons at this point. So to continue to manage that wisely, thinking long-term, and, I never want to compromise too many opportunities. Like, obviously, the future self, the future team, like, all that stuff is great. But you do also have to think, like, again, we're trying to win a title this year. He's got, how many basketball games, how many basketball seasons is he going to play? He only gets 6. But it's just like, even in life, if he plays a long time, he maybe only get 20 seasons. So do you want all of his 20 seasons to be like, hey, guess what? You're going to play 25 minutes a game because, and I guess the math of that would honestly be pretty good for Wemby. Do you want 20, 25-minute-a-game seasons, or do you want 9 32-minute-a-game seasons? Honestly, the 20, 25-minute, I would assume would be way more. But, if those 9 32-minute seasons are crazy and retire early, the Andrew Luck, it might not be a bad trade-off as well, too. Wemby, a bit of a renaissance man, so we're not saying, hey, he's going to leave basketball early. But if he has the best 9 seasons ever, then, maybe he's a little bit more inclined to, try other things in his professional life. But Brunson, now, I guess, did Mitch Johnson get a technical foul instead of he lost the challenge and got a technical? So, yeah, bad went to worse there, unfortunately. Brunson did miss, so ball don't lie. Mitch Johnson got it right. Honestly, if he misses off of that scenario, we should get those 3 points. That should be the last test. It should be make the free throw to win the challenge. If you win, if I guess that now it puts it in a weird opportunity. Like if you challenge and this, regardless of the call, if they miss, well, if you lose the challenge, they don't have to shoot the free throw. But if you win the challenge, then wait, what? If you win the challenge, no, you just want to win the challenge. We don't want to compromise our ability to win a challenge. I don't know. Maybe we're making up bad rules. But of course, the free throw at the park for the call is iconic. So I feel like regardless if you miss the technical off of a tech that was given because you got mad because you had a challenge, then maybe you should get the points. Maybe the challenge was correct. Maybe the ref was actually being petty. But hey, Chad, if we can sit here and say that, if we can sit here and call it, then it's probably a little too obvious. It is what it is. But 7-point game now. Mitchell Robinson, speaking of offensive rebounds, it continues. Cornette gets active on our end. Pause. Whoa! Hey, yo! But it's a 5-point game now, so we needed that. First points, it seemed like, in a second. I think probably because of the commercial timeout off of that review. But Brunson now with the little turnover. Was that a pass or a shot? Hey, yo. It ended up going to the Spurs, so we're not mad there. But Castle slows it down. His ability to get to the basket, then kind of switch feet and draw free throws as well, too. We mentioned the stats earlier. So the free throw ability late in games. He is a guy that will definitely get the free throw merchant label at some point in his career as he continues to get more minutes and more opportunities, because he will, aggressively kind of, in a good way, pause, he'll do the swipe throughs and stuff. 0 turnovers tonight. Oh, he's at 11-11 for the assists. Hey, yo, what's his rebounds? He's still at 6. Oh, and he made the free throw. Hey, yo, Bleacher Report, a couple seconds ahead. Shout out. So he is at 12, 6, and 11. So I don't know if this overqualifies the BS now. He has 2 double-digit stats. I think he might be, again, he's 4 off overall because he's -4 on the rebounds. But yeah, he might have been a little bit too far at this point. Not quite a Jokic, not quite a LeBron. So maybe this is the Draymond. Maybe the Draymond is like a sub 15-point triple-double with respect to Draymond, because Draymond could also put up points. I mean, he scored, what, 35 in Game 7 of the 2015 finals, 16 finals? So when you needed him to, be there for the occasion, he definitely, at least he was there. He didn't get suspended for Game 7, so he showed up offensively. And that part never gets brought up as well, too. The suspension gets brought up, never the fact that he was nearly their best offensive player in that game and was still even hitting threes late in the game as well. But Spurs turnover, not a surprise. It is going to get them at some point over the next 2 games. You do get into that mentality that, and this is like we were saying against the Thunder, like just because you play a turnover-free game against the Thunder going forward doesn't even mean you're going to win the game. But just because you win a game where maybe you turn the ball over a couple times against the Thunder doesn't mean you can do that against other teams in the league as well, too. You still have to go out there and, play with that certain level of, aggression, that certain level of respect for the other team every night. And early in the game, the crispness like we were talking about, New York came out executed a little bit better, and you could just see that professionalism and ready to go of the veteran team, just a little bit more locked in, taking it a little bit more seriously early on. But, Spurs, we're just too talented. We're hanging there. Pause. But Clarkson with the little floater, I think. I was just watching Castle play defense, so I don't even know who had the ball for New York, but one of them hit a floater. So now it's a 5-point game. And Clarkson just keeps yelling. Clarkson keeps hyping up the crowd. Clarkson and Spike Lee are having a bonding moment at this point. I think Clarkson's going to try to make a couple of documentary highlight reels of, remember when Jordan Clarkson went off in the 4th quarter of the NBA Cup final and Spike Lee was going crazy. So, hey, this could be a situation where if they win, honestly, man, I don't know if I would, compromise my fandom and my competitiveness in any situation for the Spurs here. But if you could guarantee that Spike Lee could get on the podium for an NBA Cup Finals trophy celebration, that would be, I guess, about as good of a consolation prize as you could ask for. If Spike Lee is not going to get on the podium and it's just the Knicks team winning the championship, then I guess, Brunson winning a college title over our team and now he's going to win an NBA Cup final over our team would not be ideal for Brunson's, our personal fandom, I guess, of Brunson at this point. Speaking of beefing with the franchise, I think Sports Beef might be another book that we might have to put in the Rem and Sam. Do you have to start a Rem and Sam? I was gonna say a Rem and Sam bookshop. What do you call it? A Rem and Sam press publication? I guess, yeah, Rem and Sam Publications. But what am I thinking of? It's not a label. What do you call a book? A publisher? A Rem and Sam publisher? Yeah. So we got beefing with the franchise, the Clippers story, and player beef. Rem and Sam's personal player beefs. Hey yo, over the course of history. I mean, who was the guy that just tackled Pat Mahomes? I think he might go to number 1 on Sam's player beef. And who was the guy that injured Tatum? Oh man, Sam's gonna have nothing to do next year. Tatum better return quick, because if he's not playing basketball, then Sam's gonna be in a tough spot with his favorite NFL player not being able to play and his favorite NBA player not being able to play. I mean, fortunately, maybe LaMelo would be able to play. I mean, I don't know, chat. Do we have to look into? I guess I don't know if Mahomes can necessarily say a Sam's injury, like there's like a Sam's injury jinx there, because he has won 3 titles and did have nearly the best 7-year run that a quarterback could have. So, and Sam was a fan the whole time and even before that. So I don't know if that's a jinx, but I guess after the Tatum, great run, ACL, Mahomes, great run, ACL. I don't know. Do we have to start fearing for some UFL players? Hopefully our guy from the Alley, we're not even going to say names. We don't even want to jinx it, but hopefully our guy from the Alley Cats returning, chat. Hey, yo, wink, wink. Hopefully he's doing okay. I guess he's got a couple more years before, did Tatum and Mahomes tear their ACL in the same year? Huh. Is Tatum going to change his number to 15? I don't know if that would look, I don't know how that would look. I don't know if I can see Tatum in 15 for some reason, but yeah, it might be a might be a heavy UFA year for Sam next year. If all of his guys, unfortunately, if his guys are hurt, the Chiefs in a rebuilding year, I guess Kansas Jayhawks basketball. We'll have to see who's in the recruiting cycle for 2026. But they're saying, like we're saying, Tatum should be back for the playoffs, right? So is Mahomes going to be back for the playoffs, right? Because if we ask Chris Jones, I mean, Mahomes might still be back for the playoffs. There's a chance you can tear your ACL and still be back from being eliminated from the playoffs in a couple of weeks, right? I think they believe so. If you ask a couple of the guys on the team, but yeah, unfortunately, I guess it's karma, right? Well, not karma. But, maybe not every season's going to be a title-winning season because I guess, like we're saying, Tatum didn't win 3 titles in 7 years, no disrespect, but had about as good of a playoff run start to your career that you could have, is as competitive a early 20s playoff guy that has ever been seen in the league. So in terms of, just like we're saying, competitive minutes to start your career, playing the highest level basketball, I mean, Sam's guys have definitely been, Sam's definitely been cheering for the right guys over the last couple of years. That's for sure. And, again, not bandwagon. It's not I guess, do you want to say he jumped on the Tatum bandwagon? You could phrase that, but even if you were to phrase it that way, make no mistake, Sam was one of the first people on it. Sam was driving the Tatum bandwagon around picking people up. I'm pretty sure if you look at the Tatum bandwagon these days, Sam is right up front. Driving the whole thing. But so, I think even going back to the Duke days, he was, in the draft and all the different stuff, really high on him as a prospect. So, and again, Mahomes fan, or Chiefs fan. So he would have been biased for Mahomes before we even saw him play. He would have been making exaggerated claims, I'm sure, after week 18. We're like, no, Mahomes, he's not going to be that good. Hey, 1 week against the Broncos, it is what it is. But, again, he's going to be somehow, I guess he has time to just work all these jobs. He drives the Mahomes bandwagon. He drives the Tatum bandwagon. He's a busy man these days. It is what it is. But he, like we were saying, I guess gets to take a break for now. The Tatum bandwagon, little cool down this year. Brunson, killer 3, chat. Only, 3 minutes left. But, was that Hart? Hey, we're over here random about Tatum. We're not even paying attention to the game. It is what it is. But somebody from Villanova just hit a 3. Is DiVincenzo back on the team? Amari Spellman, did they just sign him just to make DiVincenzo mad? Dylan Harper! Ooh, they cut it to 5. Maybe it's been even longer since we hit a 3 as well, too. But, hey, the defense now, Harper, is that backcourt? Oh, Chet! Dylan Harper just forced Brunson into a backcourt. So we've been over here hyping up Cats. Oh, Tyler Kolek's checking back into the game. Oh, no, that's annoying. But, and I mean, that's good for the Knicks fans if they're getting that reaction out of a Spurs fan. But, yeah, Dylan Harper, like we're saying, the Castle defense is the guy in the backcourt that you think is going to be that guy. But, throw Harper on one of the best guards in the league. Lock him down, Chet. Locked him down. Oh, man. So Fox now with Anunoby on him. They brought Kolek in to play defense on Vassell. Wemby from the top of the key, no good. But Harper the rebound. Oh, Harper's going to swing the game. Harper to the basket. Oh, if he had made that. Shot, chat, that would have been an iconic early season moment. That would have cut it to 3. That would have been, Harper, the pick. Who needs Cooper Flagg? But, unfortunately, I guess we'll need to work on those layup packages a little bit. Oh, and Anunoby, chat. That's why you got to make your shots. Hey, Anunoby makes it an 8-point game. On the other end, a rushed Wemby 3. He's got the clutchness. You trust him, I guess, to just step up and make buckets. But that is not an ideal shot with 2 minutes left. You maybe want to take a couple of passes there and see what you get, especially in semi-transition, a scramble. I'm sure just pulling up at the top of the key in front of 3 defenders is not, the best shot that you're going to be able to get at that time. But Anunoby, he's been a little quieter in the second half, but still great overall for the game. 28. You can't be mad at that, regardless of what quarter he is scoring in. It is still an effort that I guess you'll be pleased with, pause, as a Knicks fan. But, hey, minute 45 left. I guess still not over, but that little, what would have been, 5-point swing with not getting the layup or just not getting the, shot on that sequence as well too. You know, again, because that's off the offensive rebound. You got to give him his credit for hustling there. But the sequence and then giving up the 3 on the other end is pretty detrimental. 18 seconds left in the Arkansas-Queens game. Arkansas is up 107-80. So shout out, chat. Their flight back to Queens will be, you know, I guess 80 points against Arkansas is not bad. Can we get a stat line check for some of the Queens guys? See how they did? I don't know, chat. But I was going to say when they go get a chopped... Oh, yeah, chopped cheese is Queens, right? I don't know. Is chopped cheese specific to a certain borough? I was going to say cheesesteak, but hey, yo, I mean, maybe we know food geography a little bit better than that. Sandwich geography, chat? How locked in are we with sandwich geography? Let's see. The cheesesteak is Philly, and chopped cheese is New York, and I guess is street tacos or LA? Does that count as a sandwich geography? I don't know does LA have another sandwich at this point. We'll have to go do some research, chat. I don't know if we're going to turn into that guy throwing his glasses around as well too, but hey, if the street tacos are good, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I guess, do they have sandwiches? They definitely have sandwiches at the Destination Smokehouse, so maybe we just go there just because we might just end up going there as well. It is what it is. But is it a franchise? Can we get one over here? I mean, do we want it to be a franchise? I don't think we want that, but I mean, I guess we'll have to do a little research on the corporate structure of Destination Smokehouse and see what's going on there. So yeah, minute 45, 8-point game. Did Bridges foul out? Is that why Kolek is in the game? ESPN's got to have fouls listed on the box score. If they don't have free throw attempts and fouls, I mean, what's the point of even having a box score at this point? Bridges has 0 fouls. So Bridges is just on the bench for Kolek. I guess 4 for 12, 1 for 5 tonight. What's Kolek? You know, bringing energy. 2 for 5? Okay, 4 for 8 from the field. It is what it is. But Mitchell Robinson, 15 rebounds in 18 minutes. Whoa! How many of those were... Can we just get an offensive rebound check for the night here and see what we got going on? I'm pretty sure Bleacher Report's going to have us hooked up there as well, too. 22 for New York, 55 rebounds overall. So a little lower field goal percentage for the Spurs is going to help that out. But, yeah, out-rebounding us just overall for the game, 55-41, 22-18 for the offensive specifically. We have actually had fewer turnovers than them for the game. 7's not bad, but some timely ones as well. And like we're saying, a lot of those offensive rebounds, I mean, that's just also just giving up a possession as well, which is what a turnover is. At the end of the day, skying rebound by Castle. Tipped to himself over the Knicks defense. Ayo, Fox attacking the basket through everybody. Oh, no foul call. That ended up being kind of a bad shot. Just all the Knicks defense was just standing there. So a couple of possessions down the court at the end of the game where a little bit of a lack of ball movement. You know, still 112, so maybe 2 more possessions potentially for the Spurs, and then you go to a foul game if it doesn't go well from there. 4 for 16 for the quarter for San Antonio. Hey, like we said, it's a learning experience all the way around. We hoped it would be them learning how to, hoist a trophy and pop champagne, but I don't think it's going to be that, unfortunately. It might be, them learning to watch film after a loss, which, is good as well, too. We'd rather have that now in the NBA Cup than in the NBA Finals. I guess 4 times in the NBA Finals would be the worst-case scenario. But Vassell does finally get a defensive rebound. Again, Vassell's out here getting defensive rebounds. Maybe not ideal, but somebody's got to collect them at some point. So, Wemby, we need to box out. 2026, New Year's resolution. Box out, maybe not as many pull-up threes. I mean, he's going to go 50% on those. He's going to hit a couple over the course of the regular season. It's going to be like, this is the greatest player in the league. And then, on a random Tuesday night in December, he'll miss one. Oh, wait, it just so happens they made these random Tuesday night games important now. So now there's stakes. Now there's, emotions on the line. Now I'm going to be upset thinking about how we could have won an NBA Cup. I'm going to be thinking about next year how we're going to need to win the NBA Cup. It's difficult to win the NBA Cup. You don't know what your schedule is going to be. You got these random games. It's different because you don't have the series. You don't know what your team's going to look like. If you have injuries to work around, maybe your grouping's difficult. Fox for 3, again, the pull up and transition, no pass. is, and you know, at this point, maybe it's a little more defensible, but still not a great look and a little bit lazy on the pull-up attempt. Some decent separation, but a little bit of a way to cap out at the end of the game, to be honest. 8 points, tough fought. You know, at the end of the day, you're, what, -6 in 2 games versus OKC in New York, and you're 1-1. You know, that's not too bad at the end of the day. But, and if you guys wonder why I keep looking over here, if you can't see the computer that I got the live stream going up on, it is where I'm looking at. So maybe I just need a 2026 New Year's resolution, not always be looking over there. But, yeah, it was, like we were saying, a good run for the team, good for them to be with a lot of, you know, I guess a lot of, but a simulation of, you know, there's some eyes on this event. People are going to talk about it anyways. You know that in the NBA and in the sports world, the NBA Cup and tournament is going to be in the mix. So regardless of what regardless of what your result is, people are going to discuss it. And people are going to talk about how, hey, the fourth quarter stuff, Castle went toe-to-toe with the Thunder. So at the end of the day, if we had to pick one to win, I mean, I guess we don't get to the NBA Cup if we beat the Thunder. But also just from a matchup standpoint, you know, that's the game we're going to feel better about winning. This game, we just chalk up to a again, random Tuesday night game. You know, you lose some, you win some, you lose some. We're not OKC. I guess we're not going to win 82 games. But now, see, the problem is that's the bar. Is I guess I want San Antonio to be 23-1 right now. I want to be 24-0, 25-0, and hoisting an NBA Cup title. But hey, yo, the Knicks are celebrating. Towns, like we said, Brunson and Hart, I guess, both won. Yeah, they won championships in college. I think Brunson is got a little bit higher hopes. I think the Brunson with the handshakes to the opposing team and just Towns and Clarkson. And didn't Clarkson win in 16? No, Clarkson got there in the 18 season. Clarkson was in the J.R. Smith game? No? The season before that? But, yeah, the way that the Towns is going to get maybe like a little bit of a Pat Bev on the scoreboard treatment, maybe. You know, that's a play-in. That's a little bit different. There is actually no trophy on the line for a play-in scenario. Actually, you're still not even in the playoffs, technically, at that point. But you got to get, you know, it's exciting, and it is considered an accomplishment. Like, you know, as much as it's not the title, and it's still new compared to some of this stuff. So yes, it's a little corny, I guess, but it is still an accomplishment that the NBA has set up. And I guess, you know, at some point leagues got to change, right? At some point things got to be added and things got to be mixed up. I guess if they had added an NBA Cup in the, you know, I guess, and for us as well too, the timeline for us knowing when they add stuff, if they had added the Cup in 2002, so I mean, we're even alive at that point, but we're not, you know, I mean, I guess maybe we're walking around turning on. I guess we're not crawling in 2002, but hopefully not. But, you know, are we turning on the TV and queuing up NBA games by ourselves in 2002? I guess, do you guys know how old we are at that time? Probably not, but we'll just say no. You know, we're not. But are we around? Are we going to know what the NBA is going to be like in a couple of years? Are there players in the league at that time, of course, that we're going to be starting to watch early on? Yes. But if the league had started an NBA Cup, then, you know, again, we're only talking about 20 plus years in the scope of the league history, but for us, it would be normal. So, you know, at some point, it's going to be normal for people. And that's just, you know, I guess if the league has bad innovations, you know, you don't want to just time to, you know, hey, it'll be washed away with time. It's okay. You know, the fact that if you miss a 3-pointer, now it's minus a half a point, you know, maybe now you know, it'll just be normal. And people will forget about how that's a dumb rule. But, you know, so, you know, again, if it's bad things, I guess we wouldn't necessarily want that. And I'm not saying that NBA Cup is a bad innovation. I'm just saying just because it's a cornier innovation now, because it's not the NBA Finals, and is it going to have way more important status down the line? Maybe it will get... Is that I was going to say, is that the only thing that can happen is it get more important over time? I don't know. I guess, do we have like a 10-year contract with the NBA Cup, a 20-year contract where it has to be around for a certain amount of time, and then we just kind of get used to it as well, too, and then it just stays around forever after that? I'm not sure. But, yeah, I mean, at some point, you know, again, it is a thing that you have to get credit for, I guess. You won an NBA Cup. You won a tournament. We put the teams out there. We set a goal, and the Knicks got it. So, I mean, guess what? It's been a while since the New York franchise has done that. Hey, yo, it's been a while. It's been a while. I mean, it's even, you know, it's even making us go crazy over here, chat. Get the voice cracks and everything. it's voice losing territory for Knicks winning a championship. So, I mean, you got to be excited for Brunson and Towns. Rick Brunson and Jalen Brunson have been dreaming about this for a long time, teaming up and bringing an NBA Cup title to an NBA in-season tournament championship to the New York Knicks. I guess we do have to double check with Sam when, like, what is the importance of some of these other soccer style events like this? Because, or maybe even other similar, I don't know, the UFC, do we have to double check if the UFA has an in-season tournament? But maybe they, if they completely clown on it and it's been like 50 years of this being around, 75 years, and just nobody takes it seriously, then I guess. But like the All-Star game is different, because it's not, and I guess you could say this is not a real game, but the All-Star game is just inherently not a real game. So if you made somehow the All-Star game count to records and playoff success and to the end goal of the season, then, and we're not saying that you give home court to the winner of the All-Star game. Hey, yo, I don't necessarily like that as well. But that game's just inherently not a real game at this point. But again, the NBA Cup is literally, the NBA just said, hey, we're adding a new real game. It's called the NBA Cup. If you win a couple of these games, you get to play in this one. So I guess, again, the Spurs didn't win this, so we're not making the case this is important for the Spurs, and we're not making the case that this is where the Knicks franchise wants to be, NBA Cup champions. But we have to, and not say that Dolan hasn't gotten credit, has Dolan gotten credit, but, at some point, if the owner gets criticized for the bad tenure, then you do have to at least say, hey, they've done a good job now. Are we saying that Dolan is still even an owner that if, hey, yo, we were fantasy drafting owners? I don't know if we can even take that a couple more levels of extreme and get really meta with it. But, if we're just like fantasy drafting, what owner do we want to, if we build a team, what owner do you want to have? Like, I don't know if Dolan's probably on the top of our list, probably not in the first 20. But at this point, it's like, I don't know if it's, okay, these couple of years of Dolan, if I get stuck with him, I guess the team's still okay. It is what it is. But, again, it's like, hey, he built an NBA Cup champion in New York. Who thought it was possible? So imagine, Chad. Imagine if Carmelo won an NBA Cup. Imagine they should have started in 2002. Because then Melo could have won an NBA Cup in Denver and New York. Imagine, you win an NBA Cup in Denver, you're set for life. You're set for life. You can request a trade and nobody cares. And then you can go to New York and deplete the team and win an NBA. If you win an NBA Cup after you deplete the team, nobody cares. You're set for life in New York. I mean, Melo's set for life without an NBA Cup. So, I mean, imagine if he actually had one as well. Hey, yo, hopefully this doesn't continue to, I mean, it's not going to look bad for the Melo years. It's just, like, hopefully, there's more, hopefully there, what are we saying? Hopefully there's not more guys that get brought up before Melo. We just hope Melo's name gets still up there. Is still up there in the legacy stuff as well, too. For New York and for the NBA, for both. It's important for both. But he is a little bit more attached to, I think, New York as a franchise and, as a city and everything than he is a little bit more than Denver. I guess he literally requested to leave Denver to go to New York. So that, would make sense. But also, with the way that the franchise has played out, he was basically the best player of this century until Brunson has gotten there. So I guess the thing would be now, like, does Towns become a defining player on the Knicks? And not because they won an NBA Cup, but obviously if this team were to go on to accomplish greater things, then I guess at the end of the day, a title-winning Knicks team is going to be the team. But say they are in like 3 or 4 Eastern Conference Finals in a row or in a stretch, 4 out of 5 years. I guess if Brunson's on, or if Towns is on the team for the next 5 years, would that be shocking? Because that would be 8 years of Towns on the Knicks. I don't know, 8 on Timberwolves, 8 on the Knicks. I guess is everybody moving so much now that even an 8-year tenure for a player seems crazy? That is crazy, Chad. Hey, yo, we're really screwed in the NBA. That is bad. That is bad. And not every tier of player. Like, I guess Shea, again, Wemby, those types of guys. The real Anthony Edwards. Like, is Anthony Edwards in Minnesota for 8 more years? I guess, is Anthony Edwards in Minnesota for 8 more years? Is a good question. But Cooper Flagg, I imagine I hope he gets to 8 years in Dallas. Hey, yo, Nico Harrison's not there anymore. One last jab. We got him. But a guy like Towns, a guy in maybe the, Chet, Jalen Williams, again, just to bring up the other Thunder guys, I think Castle's locked in for the next 18. It is what it is. 20 years of Spurs fandom for Castle. I mean, this is the next big 3. It is what it is. Parker, Duncan and Ginobili just reincarnated here. Wemby, Harper, and Castle. Shout out. But yeah, again, shout out to the Knicks. They've got a banner, Chad. They've got a title. They did something. Shout out. Brunson got some hardware. Pause for his Knicks tenure. So hopefully more to be accomplished for New York at some point. I guess, again, maybe, hopefully not at the sake of the Spurs. Like if it's Spurs, Knicks in the finals, I guess we don't hope the Knicks win the finals just because for Brunson's sake at that point. If anything, it's like, hey, you already got your NBA Cup, so we'll take the NBA Finals at that. You got to share one. I guess you already claimed your mid-season tournament. We'll take the end of the season tournament. We'll just call it that to trick them. When we get there, we'll be like, yeah, we'll just keep referring it as the end of the season tournament. And if we can just gaslight the whole league into thinking it's as important as the in-season tournament, then maybe we'll stand a chance. A little gaslighting, a little Wembanyama, and then, we're fine. I think we're good to go. And what am I going to sit here and say that I'm not worried about the Knicks if we played them in the finals? The Knicks are a more experienced team. They're a veteran team. Brunson's been a second-team All-NBA guy. Brunson might be first-team All-NBA this year. So, he's top 5 in MVP voting in the past. If Brunson were to take down the Spurs in the finals, who would be surprised? But, and again, for these guys, and for Castle in his second year and for Wemby in his third, like if those guys were in the finals, that would be that OKC, type of like, well, I guess they're going to be back for more. But as we saw with that one, and I guess I don't know if I'm comparing that core to that. Maybe this core is more like that core than the Spurs core from before because, it was kind of merged over time where you started initially with Duncan and Robinson, and then Parker got into the mix. They drafted Ginobili, but he didn't go over right away. And then those guys did both join kind of at the same time. And the Duncan Parker emergence was, or the Ginobili Parker emergence was kind of a similar timeline. But, for Duncan, he had a couple of years there, where he had Robinson and then some other guys. Steven Jackson as the second best guy on a finals team, potentially as well. But for what this team is accomplishing this early, and for, again, I'd say that it looks more potent than that all-time team. They won 5 titles over 20 years. But it does maybe have a little bit more similarity in terms of, and maybe personality as well too, kind of like captivation effect, and just the fact that, again, the back-to-back draft classes, they were able to kind of take all these guys. It does have more parallels to the Thunder's roster. If we're getting technical, maybe, well, I guess, Durant and Wemby, that's pretty fair. Like, do you say Durant's the obvious talent? We're not gonna be disrespectful to Odin. Like, I get that, again, it's tier culture these days. So they were both S tier prospects. And unfortunately, for the Blazers, they just, the S tier that they ended up with was, it took a different path. It is what it is. But, Durant was sort of the obvious pick, like Wemby. Westbrook was sort of I guess Castle was a little bit of an obvious pick, especially at 4. Once they took the other 3 guys, it's like, well, yeah, we're taking Castle. But maybe that's a little like Westbrook, or Harper's a little like Westbrook. But, I don't know if even still we would take Knipple over Harper. No disrespect to Knipple. But, we're not going to nip slip there, chat. We're still taking Harper. It is what it is. Don't catch us nip slipping. We're not over here thinking we're going to trade for Knipple. We still think we like our guy Dylan Harper. It is what it is. But I guess point being, and I guess, we're still just talking about the fact that we're in an NBA Cup here. But you never know what the timeline is for these types of teams. And if you see us competing with these teams now, then we have to compete with these teams now. We can't just be a young rebuilding team that eventually will compete next year. We have to be the team that we are. And the team that we were in the past was, of course, that rebuilding team. And if we were still needing to, and we still need to, of course, clean a lot of things up. But again, there's a version of this team, a version of this team? There's a version of this team where where, again, it's like the 2 years away from being 2 years away team, but with the way they played against the Thunder, and again, they were in this game until a bad fourth quarter, kind of. So until they got, and now we can use the Wemby minutes restriction the other way. Like, now we get Wemby for a full game, we're going to definitely win that. And we're definitely going to win the next one he plays against Thunder because, yeah, he'll be playing the full game. So we've already won this time with that recipe. It'll definitely work again. But you can see that in these games, these guys are raising to the level of the best teams in the league. Like, again, we are the Knicks, definitely the best team in the league. They're, regardless, one of the best teams in the East. It's them and Orlando and the veteranism of the team, again, like we're saying. And even as they're, starting to play better as well too. Like, hey, yo, we're definitely going to be more sold on the Knicks, I'm sure, in 20 games, maybe even 5 or 6 games, give it maybe 2. I'm sure once we get past Christmas, I'm sure what we hear saying now, like, yeah, maybe the Knicks will win the finals. But regardless, every time they step on the court against these best teams, we compete with the teams right now. So we have to be kind of a championship team right now, and that doesn't even mean trading for trading for Wemby. Yeah, we already have him. That doesn't mean trading for Giannis as well too. If that trade works out, then by all means, let's bring in Giannis. But that means the mentality of the guys on the court every night needs to be attacking for a championship. And there is that, hey, we're building for that in the future, but it's like, hey, we can kind of do that right now a little bit. And I don't want to say if OKC is the only threat, but if OKC is the only threat, then how are we not a title contender at that point? Again, I get you could still are you going to pick us over, the Eastern Conference teams, again, is a different list because of the playoff matchups, but are you going to pick us over Denver? I don't know, but you're still seeing the argument for us to get in these matchups and probably still wanting to gravitate toward Wemby at the end of the day, and especially with the way, like we're saying, he is, the supporting cast has been ever so, continuing to impress. So it needs to be a team that I think, especially after watching this NBA Cup Finals run, is kind of there. Like, and after we list 6 teams, and it's like, well, I don't know if you'd pick us over the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Thunder, or maybe even the Lakers. But but again, I would not necessarily be unconfident against 3 of those 4 teams. So not shocked if the early upset happens for a young team, as we already brace ourselves for whatever happens in the playoffs. But I kind of think this team needs to be looking at itself going, I mean, if we can get past OKC, then we kind of can win the title. I mean, that should be anybody. If they think you can beat OKC and win the title. But I think realistically, we're looking at that as like, can we? Can Wemby? Can Castle? Can Harper? Can we actually do that? And, again, I guess 11-point loss in the NBA Cup. But, you look okay. And I think there is definite building blocks, and definitely a team that you would say who has the potential to be, who has the most, the most growth potential is crazy, but who's going to be who has the most growth potential for this season? Like, we know what this Knicks team, this is the Knicks. The Thunder, I guess still have levels to get better because they're still kind of younger guys-ish as well too. But that's, how much better are you going to get than that? Like, it is what it is. The Denver team is a veteran team. They are what they are. I mean, Murray has the ability to go on heaters as well, but that team is that team. And the Spurs team might be this team for this year, but also as they continue to get better, they could even continue to climb up and be, more competitive against these great teams, which they already are, like we're saying, going toe-to-toe against any of these best teams in the league. So I don't know if we can go even like just a quick look back through the schedule. And I think we're being biased and talking about San Antonio too much. I mean, again, shout out to the Knicks, of course, for winning. And, I guess, do you say they win? It's not like you go through the Eastern Conference necessarily to, win the NBA Cup. But again, looking at the teams that have won, there has been that championship pedigree to the team. I mean, it is what it is. Like, the Lakers and the Bucks both have won titles in the 2020s. I guess the Lakers technically in 2019. So if the correlation is 3 teams that won the NBA Cup have won an NBA title in the last 5 years, then, the Knicks maybe win the title this year to make that happen. But then again, maybe they play OKC in the finals. So it would be, the Knicks are hoping that the Spurs beat OKC in the playoffs in the West and then play the Spurs in the finals. I mean, everybody's going to hope that they play the Spurs over the Thunder. It is what it is. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not sitting here saying the Spurs are better than the Thunder. I mean, that'd be a crazy statement. But maybe we say that and just log off quickly and then see if, just to see who's paying attention. It is what it is. Oh, the computer might die before we get to the Spurs stats here. We'll look this up quickly before we take off. Obviously, pause. We have to look at these Spurs stats just to see. But yeah, I will reiterate. Don't take it lightly that, and I don't think it's going to be taken lightly that the New York team is good and that they have the ability to win the title this year. But don't take it lightly that they didn't win. They didn't win the NBA Cup the last 2 years, and they won it this year. So I think it is definitely important, and they're building blocks for winning a championship this year. They needed the NBA Cup title checkpoint. But again, the thing that was common was the teams had already won the title. So I don't know if this is, again, just proving reverse pause championship pedigree. But maybe it is a sign that they should have won the title as well, too. I don't know which year that would have been. But, yeah, for the game log here, I guess is really what we're looking for San Antonio. Trying to find a difference in some of these scores. And, you know, it's the NBA. Obviously, there's going to be some worse losses. Hey, yo. But, yeah, they lost to the Lakers by 2 earlier in the year. Golden State by 5. I guess really, what do we got? 18-7. So, wait, let me just sort their losses real quick. We've got Cleveland by 18. By Cleveland, 17. 16, 15. Chat, we can't do math. Hey, yo, 18 points for Cleveland. And then we got 13 to Minnesota, 9 to Phoenix, and then the close ones. 1 to Golden State, 5 to Golden State. Yeah, Curry killed us in both of those. And then 2 to LA. And then the other 12-point loss to Phoenix. So, I guess, hey, yo, we're average. It is what it is. We're mid. We should have won. Shout out. But, yeah, we'll be back Friday. College football playoffs. It's just a good time of year for sports, chat. Hey, yo, the sports have gifted us with good games for the holiday season. It's not great for Spurs to be on the losing end, but great to get competitive basketball. Great that the college football playoffs are going to be fun. We should be live for Oklahoma, Alabama. Future Michigan head coach Kalen DeBoer coaching in his final Alabama game, it turns out. I think, well, maybe we save Michigan talk for... We'll be biased and save our Michigan talk for the Alabama-Oklahoma game, and you can tune in Friday night to hear that right here on the REMINGTOM live stream channel. And you can catch them later as well, too, here, or you can check them out on the podcast feeds as well, Spotify, Apple, any podcast platform. You'll see us popping up over there, and the live streams will be posted so you guys can catch them that way. Or you can send us a little message at REMINGTOM on Instagram if you want to connect over there as well, too. But, yeah, like I said, we'll be back Friday, hanging out, ready to watch some college football. And hopefully you guys enjoy the next couple of days. We'll see y'all later. Peace.